I'm a volcanologist, bro. I'm not a fucking Volk hater, bro. I'm a volcanologist. I got my PhD in volcanology, baby. I know everything there is to know about Volk. So don't even try. Not even a wrestler. I don't really play as wrestlers, to be honest. I play as Volk always. And I've mastered I've mastered I've mastered the art of playing as Volk, bro. So if you guys are ever going to war with, like, the same guy in UFC 4 and he just keeps choosing Volk, it might be me. That's another thing that people are dismissing about Volkanovski all time. Volkanovski is one of the most dominant fighters ever, and people don't give him credit like this because he's not a grappler and he strikes with guys. So people don't really think of it like that. But Volkanovski's only lost 3 rounds in his featherweight career in the UFC. People never even mention that. 3 rounds. This doesn't happen when you fight Max Holloway 3 times, let alone defending your belt against other contenders. It's actually insane. Who's the most underrated champion ever, in your opinion? The most underrated champion ever. Honestly, like, again, I think like less than 90% of people put Volk in their top 5 all time. So you may as well just say Volk. Honestly, like, people rate Volk high, but not high enough. So maybe him. Little man Volk got dropped by Holloway, Mr. Pillowhands. Dude, that was Melatonin Gate. He got woken up by USADA the night before. Melatonin Gate. I like that jab from Ilya. But what I have to say is this. Volkanovski, guys. Volkanovski's piecing this man up. Volkanovski would have his way with Ilya Tapiria. Can we just be honest right now? Can we just be real? Volkanovski would have his way. Dude, Volk is messing this man up. I think Volk would dance around Ilya Tapiria. This dude is not beating Volk. He's way too stationary to beat Volk. He's too plotty. That's what Ilya Tapiria is, a little bit plotty. He ain't beating Volk, bro. Not with this kind of movement. Not with this kind of tool bag. He's got strong low kicks, but Volk can deal with that. He's doing what he needs to do, dude. Josh Emmett is the same kind of stature of Volkanovski. Volkanovski is running circles around this guy and beating his ass. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Volk is beating this guy's ass. He's not a test. Just going to say it how it is. He's beating his ass. And hey. I think Ilya is good. I picked him to win this fight, and he's getting it done in a similar fashion. And he's breaking Josh Emmett. I said he was going to break Josh Emmett. He's getting his ass kicked by Volkanovski. Dude, Yair made Emmett look like a fucking fool. All right? I think Volk eats him alive. I think Volk eats Ilya alive, guys. I do. I don't think this is an issue for Volk. I don't understand how a lot of people are rocking with Ilya like this. I actually think Volk 50-45s him. You're acting like Volk isn't chinny. Bro, Emmett didn't have a granite chin going into this fight. Like, Emmett isn't Mr. Granite Chin, bro. And I think Volkanovski can eat a couple of those shots. Volkanovski's chin is not as bad as a lot of people say it is. Remember, that's Melatonin Gate where he got dropped by Max Holloway. And he only got dropped by one other guy aside from Max, and that was Islam Makhachev, who has a lot of power in his hands. At first, I hated you because I am an Izzy fanboy too. Dude, calling yourself an Izzy fanboy is kind of crazy. To say you're a fanboy is nuts, dude. I'm not even a fanboy of Volk, bro. I don't even care that much about Volk. He's like, he's a guy that knows how to fight. I don't care if he loses. I'm playing, dude. I'm playing. I'm a big fan of Volk. I'm a big fan of Imagine being in the chat, be like, yo, as an Izzy fangirl myself. Izzy acts like Volk's friend, bro. He's not really Volk's friend like I am, bro. And Volk, I've said even before, I don't think Volk likes Izzy. I think Volk cringes out around Izzy. I think he just, again, doesn't want to get kicked out of the city kickboxing gym. And it's hard to just admit it, but they prefer Izzy over there, the city kickboxing gym, because he's the clout cow and he brings in more money. Dude, I hope Topuria gets smoked. Dude, Volkanovski's next victim. Volk's next victim. Izzy, dude. Don't ruin it, Izzy. Izzy's going to ruin the moment. God damn it, man. Why's he got to ruin this? Bro, Volkanovski's arm is messed up, bro. Volk came into the fight with no arm, bro. He has no arm. All right, let's be real. Volk just won a fight. I'm going to say no arm Volkanovski beat Yair Rodriguez. No arm Volk beat him. Beat his ass. No arm Volkanovski, new mythical fighter with a baseball on his face, still got the job done. Still got it done. Topuria in 3. You wish, Jacob. You wish. There's no way. There's no way Topuria is getting that done. And he's not even going to fight Volk. Volk's at the point to where he's transcended the sport. He can fight Jones. He can fight Makhachev. Dude, let him do what he wants. No arm Volkanovski. He just fought a man with no arm. All right. As far as I'm concerned, Volkanovski just went into the cage and he couldn't even walk. And he still beat him. All right. He still was able to, dude, Yair, I don't want to hear shit about Jose Aldo from now on. Yair Rodriguez, okay? Let's not forget that this dude is a freak. All right. Guess who didn't look like that on the feet against Yair? Max. Max Holloway walked Yair down at sometimes, but the guy took a world of beating from Yair. Dude, Volk, couple of kicks here and there. That's it. TKO'd him. D1 Glazing. Bro, I don't care. Thank you for the $2. Lightning, Cuber. Volk fights John Jones next. Yeah, I'll pick him. I'll pick Volk. Screw it. This was the fight that sealed the deal for me, that Volk is not losing to anyone else that is not also going to be a future GOAT of the sport, like Islam Makhachev or one of the GOATs, a GOAT of lightweight. That's the only kind of guy that's ever going to test Volkanovski. Nobody else. He's not flukeable. Volkanovski is not a guy that's ever getting fluked. Yair is a scary dude. If you were rewatching his fights, you knew how dangerous this man was. He's a one-trick pony. I mean, he's solid on the ground as well. It's just Volkanovski knows how to get past his guard. And I mean, on the feet, the guy's a beast. So, yeah. Man, to get past Yair's a freak. He's a freak of nature. I don't ever want to hear about Jose Aldo took out the Korean Zombie and Chad Mendes. Fuck Korean Zombie and Chad Mendes. They're not on the same level as Yair. Yair's a freak. He's a different kind of guy. He's an alien. Volk took that man out in 3 rounds. Come on, man. Volk is the featherweight GOAT, and he's one of the GOATs of the sport. He was at number 5 for me. I think Volk's just bumped up and passed Anderson. Anderson, get out of the 4th spot. Let's get Volk in there. No, Volk's still number 5 on the all-time list for me. But he's 100% the featherweight GOAT. I don't know, man. Can I even say Anderson Silva is ahead of Volk at this point? And Volkanovski, what title defense is this? 1 over Max, Ortega, TKZ, Max, Yair. 5 title defenses. Holy shit. 6 title wins and 5 title defenses. Sounds good to me. Has a nice ring to it as well. Amazing defenses. Max, Yair, freaks. People are going to start saying Yair wasn't that good, which is absolute bullshit. 11 fight win streak in the featherweight division. I think he would dance around Yair, Ilia Topuria, and just beat his ass. Volk wouldn't just ragdoll him like he did to Yair, but he would just beat his ass badly. Volkanovski is clear as Izzy. It's a joke. It's a joke, okay, to think that Izzy is ahead of Volk. All right, that's a complete and utter disaster. I can't wait to do my top 10 MMA strikers and just freaking put people on game of really what makes someone a solid striker, all right? Glazing Volk at this point. Dude, if you think that Alex Pereira is levels above Volk in every aspect of striking, you actually need to take your head out of your ass. I'm sorry. That's not a good take. That's just not a good take. Alex Pereira, look at how he rushed into Izzy in the 2nd round, bro. That was one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in my entire life. Alex Pereira, solid striker. He is very high level. He's got his accolades. We're talking about MMA striking. I don't care if you are a 500,000-time world kickboxing champion. If you get destroyed in MMA every time, you're shit in MMA with the striking. Alex Pereira is not shit in MMA with the striking. Alex Pereira is an amazing MMA striker. We've seen it 100%. But people, because of the kickboxing accolades, are so confident saying he's got to be the best. MMA striking is different. Okay. You're not just automatically the best just because you won a belt in kickboxing. Different sport, right? The best wrestler could come into MMA right now and get destroyed, right? Not become a champion or not even be ranked. Are we going to sit here and say they're the best wrestler in MMA? No. So Volkanovski has proven time and time again that his striking is effective at the highest level in MMA. All right. Straight up. Like at the end of the day, guys, the best strikers in the UFC, like until we get to Volk, everyone's kind of just trash. Okay. Everyone's kind of just terrible. If Jan Blachowicz is a top 3 striker, that really makes you think. All this flashy bullshit doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. Best striking in MMA of all time, Volk. It's okay. He could still be a champ, right? Not everyone's going to be John Jones. Not everyone's going to be Big Volk. He certainly isn't doing what he needs to do if he is going to be a future GOAT of the sport. All right. You need to dominate people at the age of 29. Okay. Alexander Volkanovski, and some of you guys are going to say I'm glazing. He didn't take Aldo to a draw. Okay. He didn't. All right. He didn't take Max to a draw. Okay? Right? Volk wasn't getting knocked out till he was 35. All right, man? And Hamzat's getting punked at the age of 29. You think anyone was punking Volk? Because when someone tried, and that someone was Chad Mendes, you fucking knocked him out in a second. So straight up, man. Gaethje beats Volk. No, he does not, guys. Guys, Volkanovski doesn't have to just stand with Justin Gaethje. He would mix it up. He's not just having this unwritten agreement to just go out there and stand and bang for the BMF title. I think you guys are overestimating Gaethje. Gaethje's good. He's good, but he's not beating Volk. If Ariel ever painted Volk out to be a bad guy, bro, you could bet your ass I'd be jumping on that side. If Ortega and Volkanovski try to implement their grappling in the rankings in the featherweight division, Volk is going to be way more successful in basically every single matchup. I don't think Brian Ortega is going to implement this grappling better in any matchup than Volkanovski. Volkanovski, in my opinion, you could talk about submissions and a Gracie background. What are they doing in the cage? And Volkanovski is beating the fuck out of people in the cage. What was Ortega able to do when Volkanovski got out? Could he even save himself? Could he even keep safe? Dude, Ortega couldn't even defend himself. He got dominated on the ground. I understand that Henry's good. I just think he's overrated on the all-time list. Double champ, something Volk will never be. Yeah, because he had to go up and fight Marlon Moraes, a guy that gasses out after one round. Volkanovski had to go out there and fight Khabib 2.0, Islam Makhachev, the most complete fighter in the game right now, that literally just took out the lightweight, the second greatest lightweight of all time in Charles Oliveira, cementing himself as maybe the second greatest lightweight of all time. Makhachev straight up was dominating people leading up to the belt a couple of fights out and was damn near undefeated up until that point. Had only lost once. Bro, you're comparing Makhachev to Marlon Moraes? Get the fuck out of here. That's pathetic. That's actually pathetic. And Volkanovski damn near beat Makhachev. If Volkanovski was fighting a guy that would gas out after one round, yeah, for sure, then I'd be like, oh yeah, that's not that impressive either. But at the end of the day, he's fighting one of the greats. You know what I mean? You know, like what are we even saying here? That's a pathetic, thing to say. Volk will never be a double champ. Yeah, because Volkanovski's actually fighting killers, bro. This is the thing about Henry Cejudo. He was fighting easy matchups. It was a tough man contest that night. Henry Cejudo was the tougher guy. Congrats. He's nowhere near the level of skill that Volkanovski has, and he never will be. Straight up. Not even fucking close. Volk is not a top 10 fighter at all, maybe top 15. Yeah, that's a completely just unaware statement. You haven't looked into it at all. You're, using the conventional MMA GOAT ranking system. You're using the conventional ranking system right there. Saying Volk isn't top 10 is actually laughable, bro. Man, I can't stand Volkanovski, dude. Why? Why can't you stand Volk? Like, what is there to really dislike Volk about? You can't say he's boring. He's probably one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in the cage. Volk really only beat Max. Yeah, that's such a horrible take. Only beat Max Holloway, the worst take I've ever seen in my entire life. Low T City. Yeah, Brian Ortega's a typical run-of-the-mill title defense. I'll just say this right now. Ortega's no different than your average title defense from any other fucking champion that's in a good division. Like, at the end of the day, it's not that different. Max Holloway 3 times. Yeah, only beat Max 3 fucking times. A guy that's literally one of the greatest featherweights ever, that solidified himself as the second best guy in that division time and time again. Max is straight up like a Charles Oliveira of the featherweight division to Islam Makhachev. You know what I mean? That's an amazing thing to have on your resume 3 fucking times. Unfinishable, unlimited cardio, tons of volume, great fight IQ, good takedown defense, good grappling. Like, that's a tough matchup for anyone. Volkanovski's dominated Max twice. You don't just do that. And then, of course, Yair Rodriguez, who is, in my opinion, a top 3 striker in the sport, who Volkanovski shot takedowns on because he respected the striking. Bro, Yair Rodriguez is a monster. That's one of the best title defenses you could possibly have in the UFC right now. That's literally, bro, straight up, that is literally just as good. If not, that's better than a fucking Justin Gaethje title defense, straight up. If you defend against Justin Gaethje, that's not as good as beating Yair. Yair Rodriguez is better on the ground than Justin Gaethje. If you disagree, you're a fucking fool. Straight up, if you disagree with that, that's a foolish take. Justin Gaethje is an absolute numbskull on the ground. He's a dunce on the ground. And the striking, bro, Yair Rodriguez is a better striker than Justin Gaethje 100%. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. It's not even fucking close. Justin Gaethje's good. He's phenomenal. He's improved. One of the best strikers in the sport. Top 10 now? Yeah, I think he's top 10 strikers right now. I don't give a fuck. He's nowhere near Yair Rodriguez's level. That's an amazing title defense. Don't ever fucking try to argue that it isn't. Get the hell out of here. Volkanovski's taking on monsters. Y'all fucking champions. Your champions, bro. Your champions are taking on what? Justin Gaethjes and freaking who? Cheeto Vera. Cheeto Vera. Yeah. And who else? Like, who's Izzy fighting? Izzy's fighting Jared Cannonier, Marvin Mediocre Vittori. Are we even close at this point? Like, what are we even doing, man? This is honestly pathetic. Bro, bring up any title shot. Gone. Gone is a joke compared to Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez is literally a demon monster. All right. He literally would have just, dude, he outstruck Max. Volk, I'm tired of acting like Volk isn't taking out the best fucking challengers ever. Give me another champion that's taking out absolute killers, please. I'd love to know. Give me another champion that's taking out people that have literal number one in the UFC type of skill sets. You can't. Wait, you dissing Jones again? I'm not dissing Jones. I'm just saying his win over Gon is not as impressive as Volkanovski's win over Yair. Who's a better striker, Gon or Yair? Yair. Who's a better grappler, Gon or Yair? Yair. Don't even fuck around. Who's a better striker, Gaethje or Yair? Yair. Who's a better grappler, Gaethje or Yair? Yair. Straight up, bro. Yair Rodriguez is a monster, bro. Don't even fucking play with me. He would be a champion right now if it weren't for Volk. 100%. He'd be a champion if it weren't for Volk. You guys don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Yair zero wrestling. Doesn't matter. He's a monster on the ground. People were talking about his ground game as if it wasn't like amazing, bro. And all these motherfuckers are falling back now. He's a good guy on the ground. He's pretty decent on the ground. His wrestling sucks. He's good on the ground. Volk isn't overrated. Literally, what's overrated about him? What's overrated about him? He's the most dominant fighter on the fucking face of the earth. How is that guy overrated? People don't even put him in top 5 conversations. People hardly even put him in top 10 conversations. And when they do, he's like right there with Izzy, which fucking pisses me off so much. No, Makshev's not more dominant. No, he isn't. Makshev's gotten KO'd in the UFC. Has Volk gotten KO'd? Last time I checked, he didn't. Yeah. Has Volk had any like Thiago Moises type of fights? Nope. Has Volkanovski let a bantamweight, almost beat him? Nope. It's objectively true that him and Izzy are on similar levels. Not even fucking close. All right. So Izzy hardly scraped by Marvin Vittori, hardly scraped by Jared Cannonier, and you're going to relate him to Volkanovski that's literally dominated everyone except for one man? Not even fucking close. Stop. That's the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's super, super foolish. Also, who is Izzy lost to? Izzy got TKO'd by Alex Pereira. Izzy lost to Robert Whittaker. He lost to Yoel Romero, arguably lost to Yoel Romero, and he legitimately lost to Jan Blachowicz and got 50-45. Did Volkanovski get 50-45 by Makhachev? No. So that's like 2 real L's, 2 almost L's. Bro, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I don't give a fuck how many title wins you have. Fuck your little title wins. Who gives a fuck how many title wins you have? Let's break it down win for win. Let's break it down win for win. Let's look into the wins and let's look at the ratios. So if Izzy had 8 title wins, but had 7 L's, are you going to say he's better than Volk? 7 L's, 8 title wins? That's a really shitty ratio. Get that out of here, bro. Get that out of. That's the worst argument I've ever heard in my entire life. What about the ratio, man? How many times has Izzy taken out like all-time GOATs? I'm trying to think. Like, what all-time GOAT has Izzy taken out? Did he beat Aldo dominantly? Did he beat someone like Aldo dominantly? Nah, dude. He took out an old man, Anderson Silva, when Anderson was in his 40s. Volkanovski beat Aldo when Aldo was like 31. It's not even fucking close. Like, dude, the notion of Izzy being on Volk's level is literally laughable. I straight up could laugh all damn day. I could literally scream into a fucking hat. I could take a bag and I could just scream into it with how frustrated I am with, with that kind of statement, dude. Oh my gosh, bro. How many times has Volk been finished in the UFC, bro? How many times? Lucas Bias? How many times has Volk been finished? How many times Volk lost in the UFC? Once. How many times has Izzy lost? Twice. Outside of the losses, how many times has Volkanovski had a questionable fight? Maybe once. How many times has Izzy had a questionable fight? Every fucking fight of his career, bro. Every fight of his career, dude. Straight up. Marvin Vittori? Literally, dude, you could straight up make an argument for Vittori to win that rematch. You know what I mean? Like, that's a real base take that people aren't ready for. You could actually straight up make an argument for Vittori, because the fight was so close, winning that damn rematch. How many rounds has Izzy lost? How many rounds? Let's actually count it. Let me actually count the rounds. So he lost a round of Vittori. He did pretty well at the beginning of his career. I'll give him that. He did pretty well. Oh yeah, Gaslam. I forgot about the Gaslam fight. How many times has Volkanovski had his face bubbled up like at the fucking like a bubble fish, like a clownfish? What are those bubble fishes that have all the bubbles on their faces? Izzy got made to look like a bubble fish, bro. So let me think about this. I'll say 2 rounds to Gastelum, right? Maybe 1. Let's just say 1 to be kind to Izzy. 1 to Vittori, first fight. 1 to Gastelum, okay. 3 to Yoel. I think we could say that. So that's 5 rounds in total. 5 rounds lost. Okay, fair enough. Then he lost 5 rounds to Blachowicz. So we have 10 rounds lost right there. We have a round to Vittori in the rematch. That's 11. A round to Cannonier. Let's just be generous to Izzy this time. That's 12. We have 2 rounds to Pereira. Okay, so that's 14. Then we have how many rounds to Whitaker? 3 in the rematch. So that is 17 rounds, 100%, 17 rounds lost for Izzy. Interesting. Let's look at Volkanovski, though. 3 rounds to Makhachev. Okay. Then we have 1 round to Darren Elkins way back in the day for Volkanovski. All right, that's 4. Then we have how many rounds to Max? I would say 3 rounds to Max Holloway. So that is 7 rounds, 100%, 7 rounds. And that's it. 7 rounds compared to 17. So it's not even fucking close. 7 rounds to 17. Yeah, so close. Izzy's right up there. And then you have to look at who are these guys losing rounds to? Izzy's losing rounds to Vittori. He's losing rounds to Jared Cannonier. All right. Volk is losing rounds to Max, literally a top 25 fighter all time, no debate. He's losing rounds to Makhachev, top 20 fighter all time, no debate. Going to go down as a top 10 fighter all time, no debate. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even close. Come on, man. You're gonna bring up these arguments, bro. I'm gonna slam you down, dude. I'm gonna slam them arguments to the ground. legit, legit glazing, dude. I'm sorry, bro. Habib's level of competition ain't shit to Volkanovski's. You know what I mean? It ain't shit compared to that. And also, Habib doesn't have enough wins. Volkanovski has matched Habib on wins in the UFC, and his level of competition has been better. How many long-reigning champions has Habib taken out? None. How many well-rounded fighters has Habib taken out? Not many. So it's not even close. Which up-and-coming UFC fighters do you think has a chance to be John Jones and GSP level? Volk. You edge to Volk just like the corpse of Ziz. That's not what it is, bro. That's not what it is. I'm speaking objective facts. Straight up. This is why I get upset with this. People think it's glazing when I'm literally just speaking facts. We're bringing up rounds. You could literally look at the scorecards. Volk literally dropped Zombie all over the fucking place. Are you kidding me? He literally dropped them all over the place. This was Zombie 2 years ago that was even better than the one that showed up to fight Max. Stop bullshitting. Stop playing, bro. Dude, you think Volk had moments where it was a close round? Volk didn't have a close round with Zombie. He literally 10-8'd him in every single fucking round. Don't be coming at me with that bullshit, man. At a certain point, we have to start rating, Makhachev beating Volk as better than Jones beating Machida, bro. It's even better than Jones beating DC. It's much better than Jones beating DC. And Jones taking out an old Stipe, it's not the same thing as beating a regular Stipe. Volk has lost, but Jones's loss is more clear than Volk's. And it's not like Jones lost to someone like Makhachev, a guy that was just destined to be great. He lost to Reyes, bro. Reyes it's not a good loss to have, man. Max, Yair, all of these are worth 3 of Jones's dinosaur wins, They are. Beating Max Holloway is literally beating Shogun, Machida, and Rampage Jackson combined. I'm just going to be real with you. This is basically everyone watching Volk fight boring. Fuck that, dude. You already know you're on the edge of your seat. Don't even lie. I'm not even joking around when I say that. You're on the edge of your seat when Volk is fighting, and you're actually shocked by the level of skill and his high output style. Volkanovski literally bullies people in the octagon and butchers their faces. So don't even try to act like that's the case. Yeah, imagine comparing Volk with Aldo. Jesus Christ. Even Aldo was boring compared to Volk. Don't get me wrong. Aldo was never boring, but he was boring compared to Volk. Topuria will humiliate. No, he will not, bro. Topuria couldn't even finish Emmett, Jacob. This is what it boils down to. I don't care what the scorecard was at the end of the day. The fact that he couldn't finish Emmett is just a testament to the fact that he's not beating Volk. Yair finished Emmett in 2 rounds. Volk, if he were to fight Emmett, finishes him in 2, finishes him in 3. Topuria, it was a good performance, but it ain't even close. It ain't even like anything that's gonna make people think that he can really take Volk out. He's gonna need to land that one big shot, and I think he's got a rather one-dimensional path to victory. MMA math don't work, little man. I'm just saying, if you can't finish Josh Emmett, you're not beating Volk. I don't think I would pick you. Like, don't get me wrong. There's always a puncher's chance. Like, he could get him out of there, but Islam Makhachev could have got Volk out of there. Islam Makhachev could have KO'd him. Yair could have KO'd him. I'm telling you right now, Volk is going to dismantle Topuria. Topuria is just another piece in the puzzle. He's just another pawn. At this point, Volk's like John Jones at featherweight. I remember being worried going into the Volk fight with Yair, just seeing how easily he dismantled Yair, bro. It's not even going to be a question in my mind this time. Topuria, he could be a champion, but, you know, Max Holloway was a champion. Holloway wasn't special enough to beat Volk. This is what it means. Like, you got to be someone that's on a one-way ticket to being a top 5 fighter all time. And if you're not finishing Emmett, I just can't say that that's going to be the case. You know, Emmett was like the Chad Mendes test. Emmett was the Chad Mendes test. Volk finished Chad Mendes in the second. You know what I mean? Like, Emmett's just as old. He's just as much of a fraud. He's even more of a fraud. You know, like Volk finished the Chad Mendes test. You know what I mean? And he couldn't finish Aldo, but like, you know, that's like Volk back before he turned into fucking Volk. You know what I mean? That was Volk when he was just pit patting around for points. Still 30-27 in Aldo like a freak. But yeah, listen, I think that Topuria is going to be a future champ. I think he's going to be a future champ. I just don't think he's beating Volk. People need to start recognizing Volk is different. Volk is literally the greatest fighter in UFC history when it comes to skill alone. That is enough for me to say Topuria doesn't beat him. If you guys think that Topuria is the greatest fighter in UFC history, skill alone, okay. Dude, Volk shits all over GSP. It's not even fucking close. Volk shits all over GSP. It's not even close. Stop. When it comes to pure skill, GSP is good. GSP's good. Volk literally takes a big shit all over his skill. Jones is good. Jones is definitely good. He ain't Volk. Just telling you that. Different level of skill. Different level of skill. Jones is good. Jones is good. That's the one guy that's close. That's the one guy that's close, okay? It's the one guy that's close. He's close. He's like a little smidge. He's like right next to him. He's right next to him. Different. They do different things. You know, Volk's obviously the better boxer. Not recency bias. Not recency bias. Jones destroyed Machida and the dinosaurs back in the day. Landed the dinosaurs. I used to watch, dude. I say that I got into MMA when I was 17 for the most part, guys. I actually was watching John Jones when I was a kid. Remember Landed the Dinosaurs? You guys remember that? Petrie, you know Petrie? I remember watching Petrie from Land of the Dinosaurs fight John Jones. Basically, when I was a kid, I was watching all these dinosaur cartoons. That's basically watching a John Jones fight, dude. 100%. You know, Volk's out here fighting the fucking, cream of the crop, bro. Cream of the crop. Ratio-wise, he lost a lot more rounds than Volkanovski. He's nowhere near the level of boxer. He's nowhere near the level of strike. He's a good striker. He's not the level of kickboxer. He's just not. Straight up. You cannot really tell me that John Jones is the better striker. I think it's absolutely laughable to write off the fact that Volkanovski is the greatest skilled fighter ever. I do. You guys can say that you're blowing bubbles and all this. At the end of the day, like, we're talking top 3 all top. Like, if you think that it's crazy to say that a guy that is clearly top 3 skilled all time is potentially the best, then I just think that's nuts. I think it's nuts. DJ's better than John. John's better than Habib. Fuck out of here with Habib's better than Volk. Stop, dude. Habib's definitely one of the greatest skilled fighters of all time. I agree with you. I agree. He's right behind him. But why is Habib better than Volk? Is he more well-rounded? No. I know Habib's grappling is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. Ratio-wise, they're relatively even. I think Volk's more impressive because he still has the same ratio of rounds winning to rounds losing as Habib, and he's a striker, so it's a riskier style. Straight up. I think they're basically pretty damn close. Get off your knees and wipe your mouth. All right, thank you for the $2. Yeah, Volk doesn't really have a submission game, but still better grappler in MMA than Gilbert Burns. Literally a better grappler in MMA than Gilbert Burns. Lucas, will you cry in 20 years when new casuals say Volk isn't that good? It depends on how he wraps up his career. And no, that's not going to be the case because they'll look at Max Holloway. They'll see that Max Holloway was like a really good champion that was 18-0, that went on this massive win streak. They'll look at the wins over people like who else? Aldo. Look at the wins over Aldo. So yeah, that's not going to happen. I think that if Volk and Jones were the same size, Volk would absolutely decimate him. Jones lost to Dominic Reyes. Volkanovski's never losing to someone like Dominic Reyes. That's all I got to say. Jones is very good. He's a good guy. He's maybe not the best fighter, but he is a good guy. I like to say Volkanovski's on another level. Here's the difference between Jones. Jones has skill. Volk has instincts. All right, Volk is a better instinctual fighter. Both have skill. Both have instincts. Volk's instincts a little bit better. Prime John Mall's Volk. If they were the same size, I don't think he does. Volk was able to deal with Yair. All right, he was able to deal with Max. He was able to deal with Makhachev on the feet. I don't think that Jones is going to give him much issue on the feet. I think it's the grappling. And that, you know what? I think Makhachev's a better grappler than Jones. So different divisions, different level of speed, different thing. Thank you for the 1 month membership, Diego. I adore Yair. Headbutt saved Volk's life. No, it didn't. That's a cope. John and Gagey eat Volk's midget punches and KOs. And oh, for sure. Makhachev wasn't able to KO him. Yair wasn't able to KO him. Max Holloway lost 12 rounds. Yeah, sure. Punches and KOs him to the nether. Get off your knees. Yair had his chance. He lost every single round to Volk. Didn't even win a single round. Didn't even have one moment on the feet where he hurt Volk. John Jones, more dangerous, period. Give John Jones Volk's back for 5 minutes. He's not taking Volk's back. This is the difference. Jones isn't taking Volk's back to begin with. He's not. Jones doesn't just take people's backs like that. I'm sorry, but that's not happening. Volk beats John Jones if you skill him up. He simply is. I'm not saying John Jones isn't the GOAT. He is, but know where he is. Know what division he's fighting in. And know the people that he's built his legacy over. He's built his legacy over people that were fighting in the early 2010s. A lot of these guys are retired. A lot of them are washed. They're not the new era guys. They're not as good as the people that are currently fighting at the top of the lightweight division. Dude, if Volk was 205, he would not be the same fighter. You guys act. I'm just saying, if you were to scale him up, he's definitely, if you're to put, listen, this is all I'm saying. Everyone has the same speed. Everyone has the same power. You just scale them up. That's it. Volk beats Jones, I think, and he does not get destroyed by him on the ground. You guys act like Volk would somehow be Captain America 205. Volk would get butchered. Dude, John Jones would get smoked if he was fighting in the 145-pound division. Like, simple as. He would get smoked. If both of these guys are skilled up to the 205 frame, even Volkanovski can still be the shorter guy, obviously. Scale him up. He beats him. That's all I'm saying. He beats him. You're going to bring up any one of Jones's past opponents. Any one of them. And I'm going to talk about Volkanovski's opponents shitting all over those guys. Makhachev is a harder fight than Daniel Cormier. Yes, he is. Okay. Yair Rodriguez is a harder fight than Alexander Gustafsson. Yes, he is. And the same thing I can say about Max Holloway. Volk is the guy that's had harder fights. He's fought better names. The only thing that he doesn't have on Jones is the longevity. That's it. Thank you for the $2, Diego. Gagey is Volk's worst nightmare. Gagey by beatdown. No, I don't think so at all. No, I think that Gagey gets taken down and beat up. Probably. Like, Volk probably takes him down and destroys him. Bro, stop. Who is Volk taken down? Makhachev. Took down Makhachev on one occasion. Took down Yair. Took down Max. Max Holloway is good takedown defense. Pretty sure he's taken down Ortega even. I'm pretty sure he took down Korean Zombie. Yeah, he definitely took down Korean Zombie. He's taken down everyone he's ever tried to. You know what I mean? Who is Gagey's tough takedowns from? No one. The ease at which Charles and Habib were able to sub Gagey was actually uncanny. I've actually laughed at it while watching those fights back. I've chuckled, I've laughed, I've hooted, I've hollered while watching it. It's just something that I find to be very funny. He would take him down, he would beat him up and destroy him. Simple. Gagey has never beaten a top 15 all-time fighter. Volk's beat 2, bro. Multiple times, man. Wherever there's a weakness, which there is for Justin Gagey, there is a massive weakness in his game. It will get exposed by someone as well-rounded as Volkanovski. Yeah, the thing is, Habib doesn't have the same striking as Volk. Volk isn't eating those shots because he's not taking the shots to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, Volk is not a guy that has to fear the takedown threat from a guy like Justin Gagey. When is the last time Volk has fought anyone that's actually really solid on the feet? Max. Schooled him. You know what I mean? Schooled him. We don't see people school Max like that. Speed advantage, Volkanovski. IQ advantage, Volkanovski. Decent showing against Makhachev, and now he's a world beater at lightweight. Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, Islam Makhachev is a world beater at lightweight. It's crazy he had one decent showing that he lost. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying, like, I'm not necessarily saying that he destroys everyone at lightweight. I'm saying he has a very good chance to beat a lot of these people. You have Volk over Anderson, your legacy is tarnished. Anderson Silva hasn't done fuck all, man. He hasn't done shit compared to Volk. Simple as, bro. Who's he beat? Patrick Cote? This is a joke, man. It is. It is. Beating Patrick Cote, beating Vitor Belfort, all of these guys are shit stains compared to the people Volk is beating. Yeah, I know he beat Rich Franklin and Patrick Cote. I get it. Yeah. Such amazing wins. 16 fight win streak. Okay. He got a title fight after beating one guy in the UFC. One guy in the UFC. That's the equivalent of Volk having how many title wins? That's the equivalent of Volk having like 11 title wins right now. This is a pathetic joke. Okay, Anderson Silva, his loss was to Chris Weidman. Okay, Volkanovski lost to a guy that was in a weight class that was bigger than him, that was supposed to absolutely mop the floor with him in a nightmare matchup in Islam Makhachev, who's probably going to go down as the lightweight GOAT. I feel like a split decision loss, not that bad. Every other person that Volk's ever fought in his division, he's dominated. He's still undefeated at featherweight, and he's beaten much better levels of competition as Anderson Silva. One win over Max Holloway is like 4 wins over these fucking Patrick Cote type of guys. You know what I mean? But even if the L's weren't there, even if he had retired 16-0, I'm really just going to look at these guys and be like, yo, who's he fought? Because Habib is 13-0, but Habib hasn't beaten the better levels of competition like Volk. You know, that's the difference. Lyoto Machida is better than Yair. No. Yair would be champion if he were ever fighting in one of these weight classes. This is the difference between him and Lyoto. Like, this is the thing, bro. Winning against guys in today's day and age when you're defending your belt in a lighter weight class, the people that are fighting for the belt in 145, 155 are on a completely different level than anyone that was in their prime in the early 2010s. Yes, Lyoto Machida is one of those guys that was all right in the 2010s. He's pretty good. He was dangerous on the feet. He wouldn't even come close to beating someone as skilled as Yair. I'm just telling you that. Can't be serious about Yair. You haven't rewatched the fight with Volk and Yair. From someone that has rewatched his fights, I can confirm that the guy's a monster. Listen, enough of the headbutt thing. But dude, come on. You know Yair was getting his ass kicked in that fight, bro. I think it's time to admit it. Diego's still coping with it. Still coping with seeing Yair get folded into a lawn chair, rocked, followed to the fence, kneed, uppercutted, taken down, and TKO'd. To be honest, if you actually did watch the headbutt, Yair is the one that is more responsible, if anything else, for getting hit by it. Like, he was the one that was pushing his head down. What are you doing pushing your head down into Volk? Why are you doing this? You have a favorite fighter? Volk. Yeah, Volk is my favorite fighter, bro. Every time I say anything good about Volk, people will say I glaze him. But everything that I say about Volkanovski, when I talk about his skill set, it's just a fact. I bring up a Volk fight because Volkanovski is the most impressive fights out of anyone because he's literally a top 5 fighter all time. Bring up a Volk fight, and they're mad that I'm not bringing up, like, you know, the mid-tier ranked fighters instead, which is crazy. Bro, you make Volk hard to root for because you're creamy glaze. All right, stop. I don't make him hard to root for, bro. I just fucking bring him up because he's the best fighter in the game. Every single time we need an example or a reference of an impressive moment, impressive fight, an impressive win, like, Volk is the guy that's always going to be at the top of the list. And you can't even argue with that. Can't even argue that he's at the top of the list because he's got the best resume. No coincidence. The guy with the best resume is going to have the best performances. Volk gets finished. Okay, stop. Such a casual take. You don't even believe that yourself, dude. Listen, anytime anyone ever says Volk gets beat by anyone that's listed outside of the top 5 at lightweight, I'm just going to write it off as a joke. That's that jokenness. That's that slander. That's that snarky malarkey comments that we don't need in this chat, bro. Dude, if Shaq actually trained, it's a whole different ballgame. The fact is, a guy that doesn't train at all is getting absolutely mauled by someone that walks around 175 pounds that is the best pound-for-pound fighter on earth. Simple as. Straight up, simple. If you don't think that's the case, then, like, for sure, I think you're wrong. You think I'm wrong. It's okay that we have no way to prove it until we actually see something like that happen. But I think I have good reasons to think that Volk beats him. He doesn't have to train? Okay, how does he beat him? How does he beat him? What, he knocks him out? Oh, yeah. Shaq's jab, dude, such a fast jab, bro. Yeah. Oh, dude, you just don't know the accuracy of Shaq, man. This guy's got just such a fucking hook on him, bro. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm sure the hook is real accurate and real snappy. Yeah, for sure. Oh, the double leg, bro. Yeah, sure, the double leg. For sure. Listen, if you're talking about some random motherfucker at 145 pounds in the UFC, I would agree with you. I would agree. That being said, we're not talking about some random guy. We're talking about the best fighter on earth. All right, dude, this is just, again, like no reasons other than he'll squish him, bro. Yeah, sure. What's going to happen if Volk kicks him in the legs a few times? Oh, no, you can't just kick him, bro. He's got a snappy jab on him, bro. Shut the fuck up, dude. Well, first of all, let me just say this. Volk's already the greatest fighter to ever do it when it comes to skill. Pure skill, I've never seen anyone fight like Volk. Sorry. I've never seen anyone as good as him. That's all I'm going to say. The best skills, ain't nobody messing with Volk. DJ? Yeah, everyone brings up whenever I say things like skills, they always bring up DJ, but you know, what I have to say to that is who has he beat? Who were his adversaries? Who was he dominating? Volkanovski schooled Aldo. He schooled Max. He schooled Brian Ortega. Well, Brian Ortega is a different level than all these other guys. Okay, let me just be honest. Let me say this, okay? Ortega, fine. That's just one of them. That's just another defense. It's a defense. It is what it is. TKZ, it's just a defense. But he dominated. He mopped the floor with these guys. He mopped the floor with Ortega on the ground. All right? His best wins are insane. Remember, just let's take ourselves back to the time where Volk beat Ortega. And that was just the beginning. That was just the beginning of him starting to absolutely fucking mug everyone. Okay? And this was literally after 2 wins against Max. Remember how great that felt when he absolutely shat all over Ortega on the ground? And then he came out here and destroyed TKZ and destroyed Max and then had a close fight with Makhachev where there was an argument and then beat Yair. Let's take ourselves back like just a few days before the knockout, dude. His legacy was looking unstoppable, unflappable, insurmountable. Insurmountable. He got outstruck by wrestler. All right, that's the most oversimplified, silly, stupid statement I've ever heard in my life. It's like calling Ilya Taporia a jiu-jitsu guy. Got outstruck by a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, no. Oh my gosh, man. Decisionovsky literally knocked out Yair Rodriguez, butchered Chad Mendez, TKO'd TKZ, and almost knocked out Brian the Granite Chin Ortega. So I don't know what you're saying. Had a bunch of finishes in the beginning of his UFC career. So objectively wrong. Did knock out Yair, he TKO'd on the ground, butchered him. But the whole point was he said Decisionovsky. Like, that's just factually incorrect. Oh, this is a terrible comment, guys. Let me expose one of the silliest comments I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh my God, this is a bad one. Volk's resume is going life and death with Ortega. That's one of the worst sentences I've ever. If you say Volk went life or death with Ortega, you're actually talking out of your ass, bro. People say things like Volk lost 24 minutes to Makhachev, and I laugh at that all the time. Volk lost about, let's say, 3 minutes out of 22 to Brian Ortega. Yet this guy's saying he went life and death. He literally won every single round. Wait a second. Wasn't it a 50-43? I'm pretty sure he 50-43 him, dude. Headbutted Yair and got 50-45. Oh, he didn't get 50-45. You know that's so this is how silly it is. Whenever someone resorts to a completely just an asinine scorecard that you couldn't ever make an argument for, like a 50-45, you know they're already defeating themselves because they're resorting to comedy at this point. And headbutted Yair. Yeah, he headbutted Yair, who did his best work after the headbutt and was fine. Didn't even get rocked by the headbutt. Just got caught with a perfect shot. But keep coping that your master of sport, your technical maestro, and your conductor Yair got caught with a perfect shot. Straight up, you're just mad that Volkanovski literally conducted an absolute symphony masterpiece, technical maestro on Yair Rodriguez's chin. All right, he was the conductor. All right, let's not forget. Still overrating Yair. Dude, Yair is an absolute master of sport. He is the technical maestro himself. He is who Henry Cejudo thinks he is, okay? Yair Rodriguez is a monster. Volk would lose to Emmett. Let's be real, Chief. Okay, dude, that actually made me laugh. Izzy's lost like 5 fights in the UFC. Volk has lost 2 to one person that is like unstoppable, okay? That looks like he's untouchable right now. Volk has lost to like the pound for pound number one guy, up a weight class. That's if Izzy was losing to Jones. Take Jan Blachowicz out of the equation. That's like if Izzy only lost to Jones, had a close fight with him the first time, and then got finished the second time. It's totally different. Volkanovski was infinitely more dominant than Izzy during the title reign. Izzy's lost like 20 rounds in his career. Volkanovski's lost, well, now he's lost like 8, but before he had lost only 7. Number 9 is generous for Volk. He's not even top 20 in my opinion. Well, that's a horrible take. Sorry, man, but there's not 19 people who are better than Volkanovski, let alone 20. There's literally only like 4 or 5 max. Most 5 people have better resumes than Volk. Bro, I understand like you don't have to have him as high as I do, but to say that he's 9, Usman lost to Edwards, bro. Usman lost to Edwards, got knocked the fuck out, and got shut down in the trilogy. Volk has yet to lose at featherweight. And if you look at all of Volkanovski's best wins, they crap all over anyone else's best wins. The only person that has better quality wins than Volk is Makhachev. And Makhachev's not better than Volk just because he has less quantity. That's the difference. Usman, his best wins are over Colby, right? Like that's his best wins. Who's Colby's best wins? Just wondering. RDA? Old Man Woodley? Masvidal? What are Max's best wins? Jose Aldo twice? Yair? Allen? Cater? Actually young people or goats? People, they just don't understand Volk's legacy shits all over everyone else's legacy that's already amazing. When you have Volk shitting on people's amazing legacies, don't ever try to say he's not in the, don't ever try to say he's not up there. Volk is not better than Ilya on the ground. Why do you say that? Think that that's just a horse shit take? Like, listen, no disrespect, no disrespect. Okay. You're just saying that because it seems right, because people speak of Ilya Topuria as having good jiu-jitsu, and people don't look at Volk as a grappler. At this point, buddy, at this point, Volk is a grappler as well as he is a striker. We saw him survive on the ground with Brian Ortega and get the better of Ortega on the ground. We've seen him stuff takedowns from Makhachev. We've seen him get the better of Makhachev in moments on the ground. Obviously, Volkanovski has proven more. What has Ilya Topuria done in MMA? Oh, he stuffed a roly-poly from whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even remember. There you go. Proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. Hall. Oh, because he was able to shut down Hall. Oh, whoa. Oh, and who else? You're going to bring up Bryce Mitchell? You're going to bring up Bryce Mitchell? Fair enough. Bryce Mitchell took him down. He couldn't get up. And he got the better of Bryce Mitchell after he knocked him down badly and Bryce Mitchell was rocked. Okay? So yes, he got the better of Bryce Mitchell when he was unbelievably rocked. Oh, he subbed Bryce Mitchell. So impressive. He subbed Bryce Mitchell when he was rocked. Oh, wow. So we beat Bryce Mitchell. Volkanovski has outgrappled Brian Ortega, but you guys are fucking glazing this guy for beating up Bryce Mitchell on the ground after he rocked him. Volkanovski was on the verge of getting finished by Ortega, didn't rock him, got out, and got the better of him and 10-8'd him on the ground. And you're saying that Volk isn't as good and he's been able to grapple with Makhachev and all of a sudden Volk ain't a grappler? Stop. Quit playing. That's just the typical take of Ilya's got jiu-jitsu, man. Everyone knows Ilya's. Oh, yeah. Who's he really showed it against? Yeah, he knocked down Bryce Mitchell. Great. Who is a better grappler? Roid Rage? This is not Roid Rage. Okay, be honest, please. Be honest. Guys, be honest. Don't just vote Ilya Topuria because you're going to piss me off, okay? Don't just vote Ilya Topuria. Be real. Be honest. The poll starts now. Ah, fuck, dude. It's at 53%. Come on, guys, be real. If it's this is way too this is way too close. This is too close. Volkanovski should be in the 70s. Come on, guys. It's a bad take. Yep, Volk is getting close to 70%. All right, if it gets close to 70%, I'll be happy. You guys know what the hell you're talking about. How good is Yair? How good? Whoa. How good is Volk for destroying Yair though? How good is Yair? Emmett's looking pretty good on the feet. You know what? Emmett's looking great on the feet. How good is Yair? Yair, can you guys finally give me some credit for talking about Yair being a freak, absolutely destroying this guy? Okay. How good is Volk? Volk is underrated. Bro, that KO was insane. That's one of the best KOs I've ever seen. Shit, man. Yair's a monster. Yeah. Look what Volk did to him. So this idea of Volk just being a featherweight is literally retarded. It is. Volk is a small lightweight. He's a short lightweight, but he's not a walkover lightweight. He literally gave Makhachev the toughest fight of his entire life. He gave him the toughest fight of his life. A much tougher fight than the most well-rounded fighter in the lightweight division. Okay, let that sink in. This is not, oh, Charles is one-dimensional. The most well-rounded fighter in the lightweight division, the second greatest lightweight of all time, was so easy for Makhachev in comparison to the first Volk fight, which proves that Volk is a good fighter at lightweight. Like, how is this hard to understand? The only guy you can't really nitpick, because you can nitpick Mighty Mouse and beating a bunch of nobodies. You can nitpick Mighty Mouse getting a win over a guy like crafty Tim Elliott coming off of tough. Silva beating a bunch of mediocre cans. But you can't nitpick Volk. Volk's the one guy that has that bulletproof resume. All right? My two GOATs are Volk because his resume is the most quality. It's the best combination of dominance, quality names, beating the right names multiple times, never losing in his division, and then it's dominance, just Benoit Saint-Denis, pure dominance. Remember, Yair needed the headbutt to start having success too. Let's not forget that. Yair, his best moments came after the headbutt. Volk has a threat of the takedown too. Yeah, he has a threat of the takedown as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that Volk, clipping Yair was just a threat of the takedown. That's also just Volk being Beethoven on the feet. You know Volk. Volk is Beethoven, technical maestro. You know the deal. Volk's the smartest fighter ever, dude. There's no way he's 50-45ing Volk. He's not that much more skilled. Like, as a grappler, you can't tell me he's the more skilled grappler. I mean, based on what? What has he done that's so impressive as a grappler? What did he do? Submit Bryce Mitchell? Bryce Mitchell would get totally fucked on the ground by Volkanovski. Volkanovski probably TKOs Bryce Mitchell on the ground, to be honest. I mean, he damn near did that to Ortega. Ortega's a little more dangerous than Bryce Mitchell. Topuria's gotten taken down by Mitchell and held down by Mitchell. Topuria off of his back is no wizard. Topuria's better everywhere? No, he's just not. You think he's better in the kicking range? Really? Interesting. Interesting, man. You think he's got a better ability to get up to his feet? Because last time I checked, he has been held down before. And it wasn't against Islam Makhachev that had his back. It was actually against Bryce Mitchell, who held him down. I don't think Volkanovski's getting held down by Bryce Mitchell. Volk is a better grappler. Volk is a better jab. Volk is better cardio. So I don't know what you mean by he's better everywhere. Volkanovski's better on social media. Ilia Topuria may get more numbers, fair enough, but I mean, Topuria is kind of this guy that disappears. Volk represents the most wholesome era of the featherweight division. Max and Volk, most wholesome era of the featherweight division. Saw a guy on TikTok say DC is above Volk. He even admitted he was in a weaker division, but wouldn't change it. Yeah, above Volk, but he got beat by Stipe twice, Jones a couple times, and his wins are just much worse. Getting beat by Jones is not a bad look, but again, like, who's Volk lost to other than Habib 3.0? And Volk gave Habib 3.0 a tougher fight than DC's ever given Jones. DC's lost every single round but one to Jones. He's won one round off for John Jones. How many has he lost? 6? I guess 7 if you include the KO. DC's won one round off of him. Volk has won 4 against Makhachev. I know he lost 6. He lost most of the rounds, but he's won 4. Won a couple in the first fight, couple in the second fight. Lucas, you honestly turned me into a Volk fan. I want him to be number 1 when he retires. Nice. Of course. How could you not be? He's the fucking best fighter ever. He is the best fighter. Like, objectively, I'm not saying he's got the best resume ever, but he's the most impressive guy ever. Like, his wins are insanely good. His closest ever fight, the most controversial win that he has, is against Max Holloway, and he came back down 2 rounds. That may be the clutchest comeback in history. People talk about Stipe coming back down 3 to DC, who was open to body shots, who gassed out in his fights anyway. Holloway doesn't gas. You can't finish him. You can't take him down. Volk lasers are always welcome in Lucas's chat. I'm not glazing. It's just, how could you not be a massive fan of Volkanovski? He's got a fun fight style. He's extremely skilled. He fights anyone, anywhere, anytime. He's got the best resume. I actually think Topuria is more boring than Volk. I'm just being honest. As a fighter, Topuria has low output. He's kind of like a lower output counter striker, a little bit of a plotty guy, heavy on his lead foot. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not boring per se, but compared to Volk, he's more boring. Aldo fans after Volk gets 10 more defenses. Volk needs a little more work, man. Yeah, he's got to pass Aldo up and get a couple more cans on his list. He's got to get knocked out a few times, man. Or Connor fans. Volk has to subtract some of his wins, man. He doesn't only have 7. He's got to go up and face Eddie Alvarez, bobblehead Eddie Alvarez. Sure. Yeah, Volk didn't win a second belt. Yeah, because it's against Makhachev. Connor would have had no chance to beat Islam. Come on, stop playing. How'd he do against Poirier in the rematch in the trilogy, huh? Is Volk losing to Dustin Poirier's? I don't think so. Is Volk losing in his own division? No. Connor lost a lightweight a bunch of times. Second half of his career, he's a lightweight, right? He's lost more fights at lightweight than he's won. Most overrated fighters ever. As I say, they're all kind of overrated. The only one that's not overrated is Volk, to be honest. Volk is the only guy that's underrated, if anything, because not enough people put him in their top 5. He was a couple of strikes ahead on the feet. You guys are acting like this is Volkanovski and Makhachev. Just another example of how impressive it was for Volk to destroy Makhachev in that 4th round. Moicano's landing some pitter-pat strikes. Dober can't hit him, right? Dober's not even about to get submitted. He could have been hitting him like Volk was when he had Makhachev on his back. Always bringing it back to what's really important. Always bringing it back to what's really important, guys. By the way, if Volk beats Topuria, that will be one of the best wins in UFC history. I'm not even kidding. That would break so many rules. Like 35-year-old winning a title in the lower weight classes, also coming off of a KO, beating an insanely good contender. I think the most impressive comeback ever was Volkanovski and Holloway too. All right. People don't give Volk enough credit for that. All right. Now, I know I always bring this up, but imagine you're down 2 rounds to none against Max Holloway, someone that has a granite chin. He's never going to tire out. The best volume striker in UFC history. And you've been dropped in the first 2 rounds, bro. And it's melatonin gate. You got waken up in the middle of the night by USADA. And now you're down 2 rounds. You just won your belt. You have to defend it. Otherwise, you're a fluke champion. And then you win the next 3. Crazy, bro. I honestly think that's more impressive than Stipe just finding the body. Stipe finding the body is good. Amazing adjustment. But you can't finish Holloway with a simple adjustment, bro. Stop acting like Volk is dominant champion. He is, dude. He is. Volk has a better ratio of rounds won to rounds lost than basically anyone else. There's only like 2 fighters you could come up with that have been champions and have had a bunch of fights in the UFC at a high level that have a better ratio than Volk. Let me think of how many rounds Volk has lost at featherweight. He didn't lose a single round to Yair. He lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Volk has lost 5 rounds in his entire featherweight career, bro. Just think about that and tell me that's not a dominant champion. I think he lost a round to Elkins. He did not lose a round to Ortega. He didn't lose a round to Ortega. If you think that he lost a round to Ortega, then you probably have not rewatched the fight. Ortega came close to subbing him. Then he had him in another sub attempt. Volkanovski almost finished him at the end of that round and was winning the beginning of the round. That's a Volk round. He 50-44'd Ortega. No, Ortega did not win round 5. Ortega had a little bit of success in the last minute of round 5. He didn't win that round. He didn't drop Volk in that round. It wasn't counted as a knockdown. He swept the leg. No, he didn't win round 5. You are delusional. You have not rewatched that round. Ortega did not win a single round of that fight. Chad Mendes didn't take a round off of Volkanovski. Mendes dropped Volk in the 2nd round. So he didn't win that round. Volk won the 1st round. He was losing the 2nd until he got the finish. So that wasn't even a round lost. I think he's only lost, holy shit, he may have only lost 4 rounds in his whole career at featherweight, which is nuts, and won every round against Yair. He walked down Volk in the 5th and landed big shots. Just because Ortega was moving forward does not necessarily mean he won the round. You can win fights on the back foot. Volk still dominated on the back foot. But he rewatched the 5th round. I will literally rewatch the 5th round right now. Okay, by the way, I know the stats don't always do it justice, but Volkanovski landed 50 strikes to Ortega's 25. You literally doubled him on strikes on the stats. Even though the stats aren't always the best metric, 50-25 is a little bit rough. A little bit rough. Just going to be honest. A little bit rough. You're just wrong. People say, Ortega won the 3rd. No, he didn't. He was losing the round and then almost got finished at the end of the 3rd and the 4th. Can you talk about the fight that's on right now instead of, okay, I'm just arguing with this guy that's waffling? Ortega won the 5th. No, he didn't, dude. Thank you for the $5. I need to put this guy in his place. Just rewatched it. Ortega had Volk rocked and scared. He didn't rock Volkanovski. He hit him with a couple of good shots. Doesn't mean he rocked him. Round 5. Let's watch it. Nice jab. Strong jab. Rocks Ortega's head back. Good body shot and a shot up top for Volk. Another jab for Volkanovski. Another jab for Volkanovski. And he stuffs the takedown there. Okay, Volk's obviously ahead. Wow, really looks like Ortega's winning. Biased commentary, nope. Volkanovski lands a combo. Ortega didn't land clean. Nice jab from Volk again. Low kick from Volk. Body kick from Volk. Spinning elbow from Volk. Nice jab from Volk. That's actually crazy. You think that Ortega won this round, even though he's clearly getting outstruck. Nice overhand from Volk and a lead hook behind it. It is kind of crazy how you think that. Nice jab from Volk. Damn. So Ortega really only won the last like 10 seconds. That's crazy. So you give Ortega the round because he landed one good right hand on the chin of Volk the last 10 seconds? I'm not taking that serious. Volk is rocked. Yeah, he landed it in the last 3 seconds of the round. Acting like he was rocked. He literally nodded after getting hit with it. Stop playing. It's hilarious that you guys actually think he won that round. I can't take that serious. I'm sorry. I just gave my live commentary. Watch it back. You don't want to be in this position with Volkanovski. You don't want to be in this position. Oh, come on. That's bullshit. Khabib would not negate Volkanovski's ability to get up. That's so unrealistic. If Volk was on top of Khabib, he'd be able to get up whenever the fuck he wants. Don't even play. Come on, man. Yeah. I popped this man around. Oh, he landed that lead left hook. He's switching stances on him. He's just too high level. Listen, all that bobbing and weaving ain't gonna hurt Volkanovski. This is a 5-rounder. He's got the better gas tank. And Volk can wrestle with Khabib. This is the thing. Most of Khabib's opponents have been pushovers. Volk is getting up to his feet. He's absolutely fine. You see, once Volkanovski makes you start working, he feels like a bear in that clinch. He feels like a bear in that clinch. This just proves that Volk would beat Khabib. Oh, stood up and look at me now. Khabib mauls Volk today, Cope. I mean, who cares, bro? Like, it doesn't even fucking matter. Doesn't even matter. Khabib is like 210 pounds, dude. Like, how would he do it at lightweight when he gasses out in front of Volk because he's never fought someone that could actually test him in the grappling? Khabib would gas out against Volk. Crazy. Khabib would literally slow down and gas out. Nuts. It's actually nuts, dude. Khabib never fought someone with Volk's sort of cardio. Dude, what are you saying? Khabib is the best gas tank ever. Proven against who? Proven against who? Volk's gas tank is better than Makhachev's. Volk fucking broke Makhachev in that fight. Yeah, Khabib beats Volk. Khabib beats Volk. But Volk was able to get up out of every single bad position. He couldn't get submitted, not even once. Never once has he been held on his back, ever. Khabib would have to get him in a rear naked choke, and it wouldn't happen because he's unsubmittable. And Volk would beat the shit out of him on the feet because, yeah, Khabib isn't Islam Makhachev on the feet, bro. Islam Makhachev's literally demolishing people on the feet. Khabib could never. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about that nonsense, bro. Give me a break. Volkanovski, and I know this is such a fucking cliche statement, but he's literally built different. And he's a freak. Like, he's not like the others. I think that if there's anyone that can get better in his late 30s, it's Volk. Especially after those 2 training camps against Islam Makhachev. When I watch Ilia Topuria, I genuinely don't think skill-wise he's on Volk's level. At least in a stand-up battle. He doesn't have enough output, and he's too simple. And I just also thought that Volk is not going to be able to box with Aldo, and I don't think he's got the power to necessarily knock him out that easily. And then he schooled Aldo, right? And that's when Volkanovski really started to look like truly elite and different from the rest of the pack. Every GOAT's wins are overrated except Volk's. Volkanovski does have insane wins. You are right. You are right. Volk's fight IQ is second to none in the UFC. And that is what Volk is best at. Like, you could talk about the kickboxing and the boxing and all the techniques. Volkanovski is a winner. And that's ultimately why he has a huge advantage in some aspect in this fight. And that's why I keep saying, if he doesn't get KO'd, he will win this fight. He will. He will win. Ilya is not going to win a decision. Volkanovski's fight IQ is what has made him the second best fighter of all time. The thing that'll really piss me off, though, is there will still be people saying, man, I think Volk and Izzy, they're probably somewhere around that 10 spot, somewhere around the 9 spot. I personally got Anderson Silva number 3. Fuck you! People still Come at me with that bullshit, dude. I'm going to make a 5-hour documentary on how Volkanovski and his resume shits all over everyone else's outside of maybe John Jones, okay? Whoa! Volkanovski is wearing the old man outfit to the press conference. Dude, check his Instagram. He's walking in with the old man fit. That's hilarious with the spectacles on. Old head spectacles. Ah, that's hilarious, dude. Volk is way cooler than Topuria, bro. I don't understand how people could prefer Topuria unless you're from Spain or Georgia. How do you think the best fighters in MMA would do if they crossed over to boxing? It'd be the same thing. Conor McGregor with a horrible gas tank loses to Floyd Mayweather. Terrible gas tank, and everyone thinks that that's how every fight's going to go. No, not necessarily. If Volk just boxed to begin with and didn't do MMA, oh my goodness, he would destroy Terrence Crawford. 100% he would annihilate him. If Volk only had to do one discipline, yeah, he's more talented than Terrence Crawford. Much harder to get to the top of the featherweight division than it is to get to the top of the featherweight division in boxing. Why, you think, oh, yeah, for sure. Volk wasn't gassing out in a 25-minute fight against a much bigger guy in Islam Makhachev, where there's grappling involved, kicks involved, super high pace, 5-minute rounds. But yeah, he just wouldn't be able to stand in there with Terrence Crawford throwing hands. For sure. Yeah, throwing hands. 6 punches around in boxing. Yeah, he's totally going to gas. Enough. The GOAT doesn't lie, Volk does. Volk ain't no liar. Yair got his family with him. It's over. I mean, Yair always has his family with him. Must have been a rough night against Volk, man. That's what Volk always ruins the party. Volk always ruins the party, man. They call Volk the party pooper. That's what every UFC fighter calls Volkanovski behind the scenes. That's party pooper right there. Think you're going to have a party fighting Volkanovski? Not going to happen. Yair's still beating him up, though. Volk's title win aging fantastically right now. Volkanovski's legacy is going up as we speak. Volkanovski's skyrocketing to the top of the GOAT list with every successful moment Yair has. There's a takedown from Ortega. Nice. Ortega's in mount. Good work from Ortega. Now Volk's title win over Ortega's aging well. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that success that Ortega had just makes Volkanovski's win look even better. Impressive comeback. Yeah, great comeback. How good is Volkanovski? Volk didn't get knocked down twice by Yair, and Volk also destroyed Ortega and didn't get subbed. Sick. Volk still wins in the end, dude. Both wins age well. Volk not getting hurt by Yair is aging well, and Volk not getting subbed by Ortega is aging well. Everyone's shitting on Volk's win over Ortega. Wake up, man. This was a win-win. Volk's win aging like milk? Really? Last time I checked, Volk didn't get dropped twice against Yair Rodriguez and hardly took any damage. Ortega got dropped twice and 10-8'd. Also, last time I checked, Volk beat the fuck out of Ortega and 50-40 for'd him. So, yeah, I don't want to hear it. Remember when Ortega tried to grapple against Volk? What happened there? Ortega beats Volk. They've already fought, dog. 50-44, man. Volk beat Ortega, you fools. And he had a clean-looking performance against Yair on the feet. Ortega got destroyed by Yair. Volk had a nice, clean man's looking performance. Max's win was better. I mean, at the same time, that was a younger Ortega that was worse. If you think that the Ortega that fought Max was the best version of Ortega, you're out of your fucking mind. Everyone knows that when Ortega fought TKZ, like that was a next level Ortega. Ortega fighting Volkanovski was a better Ortega than the one that fought Max. Quit playing. Anyway, Volk's resume is still looking awesome. Is Ortega officially the featherweight GOAT after this? No. Let's not forget, freaking Volkanovski annihilated him. And Max annihilated Ortega, and look at what Volk did to Max. Right? Never forget who the featherweight GOAT is, man. At the top of the totem pole, you're always going to find one guy. So he still got a second-round submission over Yair. That's better than what Volk did. You could say it's better than what Volk did. Volk didn't get 10-8'd in the first round and knocked down twice, though, did he? So, I mean, there's that. You know, this just brings me back. And again, Ortega had a phenomenal performance, but this just brings me back to what this really says. And the ultimate takeaway from this fight is that Volk didn't have none of that when Ortega was grappling. Volk was piecing him up on the ground, man. Volk, yet again, is the only guy to ever have his back taken by a high-level grappler and to punch them 50 times. It'll never not be impressive. Volk is the modern GOAT, can never take that. Volk is the modern GOAT, bro. Listen, I don't mean to come at Aldo fans. They've been having it rough lately, but Aldo fans act like he didn't lose to Volk and Max and Connor, all in his early 30s. Volk is literally the GOAT of our generation. Stop. Omar, who has a better who has a better resume? Who has a better resume? Who's your new favorite fighter? Volk is still my favorite fighter. I don't have a new favorite fighter. Volk got knocked out by a wrestler and a BJJ guy. He was never good. He got knocked out by a BJJ guy? Who's the BJJ guy? You mean the boxer, Ilia Topuria, who happens to have some grappling? You mean like the most well-rounded fighter in the sport, Islam Makhachev? Nice try. But a real hardcore fan puts Volk in the top 20. A real fan who really knows the game, and I'm not even bullshitting, puts Volk in the top 20 best grapplers of all time. Let's just say it how it is. Have you ever seen anyone beat up Ortega on the ground? I have. There's only been one guy to do it. You guys don't understand. You guys think that height and all that stuff is like the big difference maker and all that. It's actually the denseness. Think about it. Would you rather be, let's say, 6'5", or would you rather have the Volk build? The Volk build, ancient Macedonian king build. All right? You're going to want to have the 5'6" Volk build. You have the Chads, and then you have the 5'6" Macedonian manlets. All right? That's the one that you want to go for. So I'm more of like the 5'6" Macedonian, you know? Being a manlet is honestly the best base for life. Let's make no mistake about it. He wouldn't ever beat Volkanovski. Let's not compare Calvin Kattar to Volkanovski, okay? He's not doing this to Volk. And Volk can out-grapple him. Volk would take him down easily. Yeah, people are going to say, what are they going to say? Volk beat a shittier version of Max. Volk beat Max Holloway in the trilogy, like when he was coming off one of the best performances of his whole career. What, Max Holloway was a bum back then? Years after Holloway's champion, an improved Holloway gets schooled by Volk. Volk beat him 3 times, so. Yep, Volk goes up the GOAT list with that one. If there was any doubt about Volk's legacy, beating Max 3 times, right? Holloway's literally a top 15 fighter of all time. That's a win that most people would be hyping up champions for getting. People hype up Oliveira for beating him. People hype up Khabib for beating him. Holloway schooled him on the feet. Nobody's been able to do that. All right? Yeah, Charles knocked him down, but still. No one's really been able to school Justin Gaethje like that. Love your stream. If you could pick one fighter to interview, who would you pick? Probably Volk. Probably Volk. We got to start talking about him moving up, but guess who else moves up too? Volk. That's the good thing about being a Volk fan. Even if Volk continues to lose, if Holloway keeps winning and if Aldo keeps winning, Volk's legacy will age better. If Holloway beats Ilia Topuria, Volk moves up. Can we at least agree with that? If Holloway continues to prove that he's a fucking man, Volk moves up because he beat him 3 times. That's the good thing about being a Volk fan. If Volk wins another fight, maybe Volk needed 2 wins to pass GSP. This is just an example. Maybe Volk needed 2 wins to pass GSP, but now all he needs is 1 because Aldo did well. That's what I mean. Volk moves up. Even if you don't move up a whole spot, you inch up a little bit. Volk inched up. He got an inch closer to GSP's spot. Okay, so other people's success helps. Oh, no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's not as simple as that. It's wins age well or poorly. That's how it is. It just makes sense. Your win is determined on the greatness of a win is determined on how good the person is that you beat. So, for example, if Steve Ercik were to win every single fight for the rest of his career, Alexander Pantoja's win over him looks better. And Alexander Pantoja's resume ages better. That's how it is for everyone. John Jones, since you're a Jones fan, if Jones beats DC, DC goes on to become a double champ. That win ages really well. That's how it is for everyone. Not only Volk, that's how it is for everyone on the GOAT list. Which, if you talk about Mighty Mouse, if you talk about GSP, some of their wins didn't age that well. Also beat a fringe journeyman and Volk moves up. Aldo did not beat a fringe journeyman. He beat a 28 or 29-year-old fighter that is in the rankings right now at the age of 37. Aldo just winning that way and schooling him does make Volkanovski's, win over Aldo look better. You know what? If it wasn't for me, if you guys were to go out there and call Volkanovski a top 5 GOAT, if I had never made any noise about it, you'd be called an idiot. That's the thing. Like, a year ago, you would have been, you know what? People are still being called idiots and fools for saying Volkanovski is a top 5 all-time fighter. If you said that a year ago, you would have been locked in prison. All right? That's the difference. That's the difference, guys. Say it now, you're called a fool. Say it a year ago, you're fucking locked in jail. All right? So, like, and since a year ago, he's done nothing but lose, too. Amazing how Volk has moved up from getting KO'd multiple times. That's because he's not. He is, though. He is. That's the thing. People don't go about ranking GOATs properly. Like, people don't understand how to do it the right way. I'll stand by this. We have 1,700 people in here. Alexander Volkanovski won the 4th round against Islam Makhachev on damage and on, sometimes the judges score things on like the vibe. He won on the vibe too. So he won the 4th when he had his back taken. Holding onto someone's back and snuggling them is definitely not going to win you a round when the other guy's punching you in the face. That's the only chance. That's the only time where that's ever happened. You can say I'm delusional. There has never been another time in UFC history where someone has had someone's back and they've been punched in the face 60 times and they've been able to do nothing. Not only did that happen, but it was the best grappler in the sport holding down Volkanovski, who couldn't do shit when getting punched in the face 50 times. You can't name me a single other time where someone has been able to successfully punch the guy that's on their back 50 times. Can't name me a single one. What are you going to say? What about Jan and Al? Anyone that has their back taken usually is freaking out and trying to break the grip. But yeah, you get my point. Aldo is better than Volk by a mile. Who did Volk beat? Yair and Ortega? I swear, people act like Yair's a bad win. Yair made Max Holloway shoot for takedowns. Yair made Volkanovski shoot for takedowns. Yair's the only man to ever drop Brian Ortega. Yair would whoop Aldo's ass back in the day. So that's all I got to say. And also, who did Volk beat? Max Holloway 3 times and Jose Aldo himself. So there you go. But yeah, Yair and Ortega are good wins. They're objectively good wins. They're better than beating Marvin fucking Vettori. They're better than beating Colby Covington. Dustin taking Islam to round 5 ruins Volk's legacy. Does it ruin? Because last time I checked, Volk won round 5 and ended up in the final minute beating up Islam Makhachev and had closer striking exchanges in the early going of the fight and didn't get finished and submitted. So does it really? And also, he didn't fight a Makhachev with staff. I am the heat, brother. I am the heat. Bring the heat. Bring the heat. One of the goated moments in UFC history, dude. One of my favorite moments. We'll watch it after this. Bring the heat. Little did Max know. Little did Max know that Trojan horse that he got gifted that night from Volkanovski was a trap. It was a setup. There was an ambush. Ambush! Ambush! That's what happened that night. Volkanovski's win over Max Holloway the 3rd time is like the equivalent of an ambush. It's like an Avatar. I don't actually remember this. It's like an Avatar where the blue people, they think they have the jump on the real people. The avatars, they think they have the jump. And they're like, oh, we got it started. We caught them off guard with our bow and arrows. And then the next thing you know, they left their tree unattended on the other side. And they allow the people with their starships to blow up the tree. And they thought shit was sweet. Next thing you know, their tree's getting blown up. That's what Volkanovski did to Max. Right? Max Holloway was like, I'm finding some success here, man. I'm going to counter him, man. Volkanovski let him know, dude. Not today, man. You thought you were going to be able to counter me, but what about the counter after the counter? They're not 1-1 and 1. Oh, you're saying 1 was a draw? Don't give me that cope. What about round 2? People just scoff over round 3, 4, 5. Holloway won the rematch, man. Rounds 1 and 2. All right, what about the last 3? Let's forget about those. Everyone forgets about the last 3 that scores that for Max. Big John McCarthy back in the day forgot about the last 3 too. But if you actually watch the 3rd round, it's a Volk round. You watch the 4th, it's a Volk round. You watch the 5th, it's a Volk round. Even the Weasel, and I don't mean to, we're not doing an appeal to authority with the Weasel necessarily, but the Weasel is usually more often right than wrong with his Who Really Won videos. I'm not saying the Weasel was right that time, but, the Weasel had Volkanovski. All right? If you think that Holloway won the second fight, all right, I'm not going to argue with you that much. You're wrong, but I'm not going to argue that much. If you think Holloway won the first fight, you're actually a fool. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're a fool if you think he won the first fight. Holloway got shut down for every single round outside of maybe, if you want to pity him a little bit, you'll give him the 4th. I remember watching that fight live. Had no issue scoring it. The crowd was dead silent the whole time. That's how you know Holloway was a fan favorite coming off of an okay performance, like a defending champion against Frankie Edgar. Fan favorite. Volkanovski shut that crowd up instantly after the first 2 rounds. Instantly. There was no energy in the building while everyone was watching Volkanovski effortlessly, cleanly beat Max. It wasn't a beatdown. It was a clear victory for every single fucking round outside of the 4th. Sorry, dude, but if you think Max won the first fight, you're actually delusional. You're just saying it because you heard Chael Sonnen say, I had him winning every single round in the first fight. Or Max Holloway. Max Holloway's delusional because he was saying that leg kicks don't do any damage, brother. Dude, leg kicks count. You got leg kicked like 100 times in that fight. And Volkanovski was landing sick combinations with the hands too. Got shut down 4 rounds to 1. Gonna have to deal with that. The reason why Volkanovski's resume eclipses DC's is because Volkanovski was more dominant against high levels of competition. DC was dominating the lower level guys, just like Volk was as well. DC's win over, what's his name, Gustafsson? Not dominant. That's one of his best wins ever. Very, very close. Volk's close fight is with Holloway. But then he's also got 2 dominant ones to show for it. Okay, close fight with Gustafsson versus close fight with Max. Who's better on the all-time list? Well, Max. So therefore, a close fight with Max is more acceptable. Okay, fair enough. So Volk wins that battle. 2 wins over Rumble Johnson. Okay, let's talk about the other 2 wins over Max. There you go. You know what I mean? We could do this all day. He's got a win over Stipe. Okay, Volk's got a win over Aldo. And he's 1-0 versus being 1-2. It's easy. Thank you for the $2. I think Volkanovski is very underrated on the GOAT list. Very underrated. If you think about it, he is the most underrated fighter in UFC history. Just like objectively, Volk, on the other hand, isn't even mentioned for people's top 3. Very rarely. I mean, only by me, really. And some people don't even have him in the fucking top 10. Literally, some people don't even have him in the top 10. I love how the Weasel's so, just determined to never have Volk move above Aldo on the GOAT list. Every time the Weasel talks about it, he's always like, Volk is close, but it's Aldo. It's Aldo. You could hear the Weasel's really serious about it, too. He doesn't like having people put Volk above Aldo for whatever reason, even though Volk and Aldo are nowhere close to each other, really, at featherweight. At featherweight, Volk clears easily. Aldo's lucky that he's been moving down in another division and raking in that division, but he's not done enough at featherweight to even come close. Based Weasel? No, he just has nostalgia bias, man. The Weasel just is a massive Jose Aldo fan, and I get being an Aldo fan, but you just can't have him above Volkanovski if he lost to Volk and also lost to the guy that Volk beat 3 times twice by KO and lost to Conor McGregor. I mean, the 3 best featherweights Aldo ever fought, he lost to. You know what I mean? Volk's only lost to 1 featherweight. He's beat everyone else. Aldo's lost to too many people. Aldo was washed when his chin was still really good, and he was only losing to champs. Come on, dude, such a casual. Yeah, he was washed. He was washed when he was getting outpointed by Volkanovski. They'll talk about Aldo. It's unbelievable how he's still so fast. I mean, he looks like he's never missed a step. Yet 5 years ago when he was even faster, arguably, Volkanovski's schooling him by decision. Volk doesn't need to KO him with a big, ugly punch. He could just outclass him, just outspeed him, just outthink him, out-technique him. No one's ever going to out-technique Aldo. You got to put him away. Volk enters the chat. Lets him know that, there's a new featherweight GOAT in the yard. Yup, man was slumped twice and somehow jumped over DJ. Your Volk obsession should be studied. DJ got slumped out in 1FC. If you didn't forget, he got beat by Dominic Cruz by decision. Volk never lost a decision. And you can't just say, oh, well, DJ was young. Volk wasn't losing when he was young. Volk had the option to lose to Aldo when he was young, but he didn't. You know what I mean? So DJ lost decisions to Cejudo. Close, though. But still, Volk has a close fight with Holloway. He wins. That's the difference. DJ's fight with Cejudo was closer than Volk's fight with Holloway. Volk wins those battles when he needs to. DJ loses. So I've said this before. I'd rather you get KO'd at the age of 35 when it's statistically permissible to lose. And one of those KOs is on short notice where your weight cut is atrocious and you're not confident in your abilities because you're the specifics guy, than to lose a decision and to then get KO'd in 1FC with a full training camp when you're not coming off of a KO loss. DJ wasn't coming off of a KO loss. Every single KO that Volk has, he's either coming off of a KO loss or he's taking it on short notice and giving himself the worst possible circumstance to fight the best in the world. Alex is better than Volk on the GOAT list? No. Not at all. Yuri Prohaska twice versus Max Holloway 3 times? Nope. Izzy, he beat Izzy. Okay, that's great. But is that better than beating Aldo? No. Is he 1-1 with Aldo Volk? No, he's 1-0. Better than being 1-1. So no. Jamal Hill, really good? Okay, well, Jamal Hill got a belt off of a guy coming off of a loss and only got gifted that opportunity because someone else pulled out. Is Prime Connor overrated? No. Listen. I think Volkanovski beats Prime Connor. I'm like Dana White. I felt like Dana White saying that, how Dana brings up Jones out of nowhere. I think Volkanovski takes McGregor down, beats him up, and I think he finishes McGregor in the later rounds. I think Volkanovski's cardio is off the charts. I think his grappling is good enough for him to take down McGregor. And I actually think his speed is good enough for him to be able to stand with McGregor a bit. I don't think it's just Volk gets chinned. This is the thing that kind of annoys me. People look at Volkanovski and say he loses to everyone with power. I understand that he's gotten KO'd by people that have power. One person. Volk gets KO'd by everyone with power. He's been KO'd by one guy that has crazy power. Now you're going to say Islam Makhachev too. Well, he fought Islam Makhachev the first time, 5 rounds, and took knees flush to the face, got hit with flush combinations on the feet. Yeah, he got KO'd when he was 1 week off the couch with a horrible weight cut. Yeah, it was a perfectly set up head kick, but it wasn't just the power was too much. He's been KO'd by one guy because power. Okay? Volkanovski went a whole fucking career not getting KO'd. I don't think you're crazy if you think McGregor chins him, but I think you are crazy if you're saying something like this. Connor chins him, man. Just stop, man. Dude, I can't take it anymore. Such a shit take, bro. That's where you're crazy. Lionel Rivera, Volk, Connor, Dustin Striker poll. I did. I saw it. It was pathetic. Lionel Rivera, he puts up a lot of polls. He did a poll with Connor, Dustin, and Volk. Best striker. Volk had the least votes, which is just such a fucking joke, dude. Such a joke. Volk's obviously the best striker. There's not a good argument otherwise. People are going to say I'm just glazing right now, but it's actually true. Volkanovski's got better Muay Thai than Khalil, dude. Gene Silva versus Volk? I don't know, bro. Maybe Volk, dude. That Volk guy is pretty tough. I actually don't know. Probably Volk. Dude, just because you beat Dober don't mean you beat Volk. I picked him to beat Dober, but come on. Let's relax. I'm not saying he couldn't knock Volk out. I'm just saying Volk could figure him out.
I don't give a fuck that he got knocked out by Makhachev, that he got knocked out by Topuria, right? That's why he's not near the top anymore. He's down at number 5. But I'm not going to forget the absolute masterclass this guy put on Max Holloway.
True.
I'm not going to let the streets forget about that.
Very true. Dude, this guy lost to Islam Makhachev in the most expected way possible. Like, off the couch, fat, drunk, injured, arm injury. Of course he was going to get smoked. Of course, he still stuffed that first takedown, though. He still stuffed the takedown. You remember that? When Volk literally stuffed the first takedown, then Makhachev shot at him and said, "Oh, yeah." Volk freaking yelled at him, too. That was an epic moment. You guys remember that. That's at least something to get hyped up from. Remember Volk freaking shut down Makhachev's wrestling in the rematch, too? Nice. Remember that? Makhachev freaking collided with him. It was like a collision, like an NFL collision. Oh, yeah. Volkanovski fucking stuffed that. That was the trick up his sleeve. Stuffed that easily. People forget, man. Volkanovski fucking shut the wrestling down in the rematch. Right?
Volk, he outstruck Jose Aldo. People do not even remember the fact that they fought each other. Right?
To be fair, I'm going to be honest. As a Volk fan, people don't remember that they fought because that fight sucked. Aldo and Volk sucked so much. It was such a boring fight. You'll never hear me talk about this again, but I'll just be 100% honest, 100% real. That fight was boring as fuck. That's why it was forgotten. All right? It was boring as fuck. Finally admitted it. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. That fight sucked so much, but I'm going to be real, though. Even though it sucked, it was a masterclass, and he made Aldo look silly, and he held Aldo to less than 30 strikes, but I'll be real. That fight sucked. That's why. But it was no lack of skill from Volk. It was not a lack of dominance. It was a fucking chess match, one-sided chess from Volk. It was one of those stinky fights where it's like, okay, well, you got to give him credit because this is Aldo. He made Aldo look mid. That's the impressive part. At least when Volk stinks it up, it's against Aldo, and it still is relatively high output. It's not against Vettori, dude. Dude, Volkanovski's output in that fight was still better than Adesanya's output against Vettori in a 5-rounder. Still better. Emelianenko should be higher than Volk on the GOAT list. No, the heck he shouldn't. For beating who? Big Nog? And losing multiple times in his 30s to people that aren't even top 10 GOATs? Which top 10 GOAT has he beat? Who did he beat? Coleman? Big Nog? Sorry, but those guys are good. They're great. But they've been passed up by 50 people at this point. How the fuck is Volk top 5? He got KO'd by a wrestler, then a BJJ guy? Oh my goodness. I know you have to be trolling with this. Anyone that considers Ilia Topuria a BJJ guy is just, they're just yapping. They're either yapping or they're trying to be hardcore to remind people that they know that he used to grapple. He's a BJJ guy. When you really think about it, you know, this guy's not even a boxer. He was actually a grappler back in the day. He actually started grappling. Like, okay, so you're just trying to tell people that you know that. He's not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. Sorry, not an MMA he's not, okay? He's just as much of a boxer. He got knocked out by a fucking boxer. Alexander Volkanovski got KO'd by a boxer that's well-rounded. He's a grappler. He's not a grappler. Sorry, he's not a grappler. He's a well-rounded striker. Just because he started off grappling doesn't mean that he's a grappler. Ilya subs Volk in half a round. Volk knew he kept it standing. Oh, yeah, that's true. Volk knew. You could literally just say Ilia Topuria knew Volk would beat him up on the ground, so that's why he didn't shoot a takedown. How fast would Volk get KO'd versus Ryan Garcia or Tank? I think Volkanovski's footwork could actually be a problem for Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. I think Volk could jab him. Because even though Gervonta Davis is good, I think that Volkanovski's output and footwork, I think he could survive the big combination that's in the 7th. If you think about it, okay, what does Gervonta Davis present in a fight? He presents a combination in the 7th round. He presents a couple of body shots in the 6th. Okay, you know, okay, 7th round, he's throwing the combo. 5th round, he's throwing the body shot. If I just take the round off to survive, I probably win. Because, you know, he's been programmed to let go a combo for the first time in 1 round. Why you glaze Volks? Because he's my favorite fighter. There's Volk. There's Volk. Volk is the biggest star that's ever stepped foot in the UK. Volkanovski is the biggest star, biggest name that's ever stepped foot in the UK. Who's got the best sweet pea in the UFC? The best jab in the UFC. You know, I think Volk might have the best jab in the UFC. One thing I will say is that MMA is one of the flukiest sports. That's the thing. It is a little bit fluky. It is. And that's why it's even more impressive when someone like Volkanovski goes undefeated until they're 35 in their own division. Because there are moments where people make a mistake and they're better than their opponent, but they get knocked out. Volkanovski is a better athlete in his sport than James Harden is in his. Volkanovski has accomplished more in his sport than James Harden hasn't had in his. That's why Volk should be higher. Volkanovski is a hardcore take, but should be on here. Volkanovski should be on here. Not Glaze. That's not Glaze, dude. Oh my goodness. You know, it's funny how people say I glaze Volkanovski. I'm sorry that Volkanovski has become one of the best fighters ever and has proven his technique multiple times as being superior to all of his elite opponents that he's basically had. My bad. Let's just pretend that we live in a world where Volkanovski's lost half of his fights, has been outstruck a million times, hasn't actually looked good in every single one of his fights. Let's just pretend we live in that world. Yeah, Volk sucks, man. Volk's trash, bro. Strickland's jab easily. No. Strickland's jab is great for middleweight. It's not better than Volk's. Get off your knees. It's not better than Volk's. I'm sorry. Personally, I think he would slap the head off Bilal, though. I think Volkanovski would slap the head off Bilal. Be real and please don't bullshit. Volk would beat Bilal, okay? Can we just be honest? Volkanovski has one of the best jabs in UFC history. Yes or no? Volkanovski has one of the best jabs in UFC history. I'll do a poll. And we can't just say I'm glazing there. That's just a fact. Oh my gosh. Dude, what do you guys think Volk was like? Are we just seriously this casual where we're like, Volk was just a pitter-pat leg kicker, man? Nah, man, Volk was kind of a well-rounded guy. He was never a striker. This is what they do for Jones. Jones was never a striker. He was a wrestler. Like, are we really going to say Volk was a fucking wrestler or some dumb shit like that? Come on, bro. He was jabbing up Ilia Topuria and fucking piecing him up. He was, dude. I cannot wait to show you guys. I cannot wait to show you guys. Does Volk have one of the best jabs in UFC history? That's already like 50% no. Oh my gosh, bro. Please stop. When we say one of the best, I mean like top 10 jabs in UFC history. Literally name 5 people with a better jab than Volk. Oh, Usman, stop. Usman had a good jab, not on Volk's level. Bro, Volk was using his jab to piece up Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway. All right? It's different than Usman freaking jabbing up Gilbert Durinho Burns at 170. Jan Blachowicz is a good jab, not on Volk's level. I'm sorry. He's got big, ugly jabs. They're great jabs. Jan Blachowicz is a good jab, not on Volk's level. No, not GSP. But what do you mean, man? GSP jabbed up Carlos Condit, bro. Oh, yeah, okay. Volk jabbed up Max Holloway. Bit of a difference, huh? Volk was in the rematch. Volk was freaking sliding. You know, Volk has the lateral movement where he's like chucking jabs on while moving laterally. Volk was freaking jabbing up Holloway, dude. Stop. Brother, Habib had better jab, but I'm not trolling. This is the thing that's so frustrating about being a Volk fan is like, if you say something like, yeah, Volk's one of the best strikers ever, just because he's lost a couple times, people will be like, bro, you got to be trolling, right? Strickland's a better striker. Like, oh my goodness, stop. Please just stop. Francis Ngannou. Yeah, Francis Ngannou was better jab than Volk. What do you mean, dumbass? Francis actually knocked some can out with his jab once. Of course he's better than Volk. Volk had a long reach with a freaking crazy jab for featherweight. Don't even mess around and say that it wasn't. Like, what do you need to do to establish a good jab? You need to KO someone with a jab once? Like, that just, come on. Font has a better jab? Font has a great jab. Amazing jab. One of the best in UFC history. But Font's been KO'd, like, a bunch of times and outstruck a bunch of times. So, like, we can't necessarily say, yeah, Rob Font is, he's got the best jab ever. He's not been outstruck a bunch of times. He's been outstruck a couple times. Volk has never got outpointed. Ever has Volk been outpointed. And that just goes to show when Volk is not getting KO'd, he's jabbing people up. GSP jab is debatable. GSP had a good jab, not on Volk's level. TKZ had a good jab, not on Volk's level. Volk fucking jabbed his up. Jabbed his up. Volk jabbed his ass up, son. Striking match isn't just jabs. I know. Volkanovski was an output guy with a crazy jab. Just stop. Volk, someone asked me who has the best sweet pea special in UFC, and I said Volk has the best jab. There's a reason why 62% of people say Volk does have one of the best jabs in UFC history, and it's because he does. If he didn't and it was actually a bad take, then it would be like 30% yes, okay? It'd be like 62% no. Not many people have a jab better than Volk. Volkanovski was busting up the face of Ilia Topuria. I'm going to show you, you know how like, dude, I'll show you guys. Vucenic's landing damage with these pitter pats, but now Gudamas. So I guess we're not all Volkanovski, built different to where, you know, the only one getting damaged is the guy who has the back. Vucenic's learning that we ain't all Volkanovski, son. You ain't Volk, son. Yeah! You ain't Volk, son. Volkanovski beats Gaziev. Please. Dude, Gaziev is so slow. He wouldn't, if Volkanovski just survives the first round, he beats Gaziev by decision by leg kicking him at range. Volkanovski would literally just leg kick Gaziev and tip him over. Yes, he would. Volk would beat Gaziev, I promise you. Stop, man. Dude, stop, dude. Oh my God, man. Just stop. This is crazy, dude. Shamil Gaziev's a pro heavyweight. Of course he beats Volk. He's legit. Like, come on, guys. Like, just see what's in front of your eyes and look at the skill on display. Bro, this is hilarious. Bro glazes anyone who looks like Volk. That is fucking hilarious, dude. I'm not glazing Azamat because he looks like Volk, and I'm not glazing Azamat. Just joking around. That's funny, though. You think that Azamat looks like Volk? That's so funny, bro. That means that I hype up Volk so much to where even if there's someone that looks like him, if I'm talking about their skill set positively, it's like, bro, you're only saying that because he looks like Volk. Yes, you are. It's not true. It's like, how can I make this, how can I make Volkanovski look more hype? Let's hype up Azamat's skill set as if that's going to do anything to Volkanovski's legacy. So, you know, Volk, it's been almost a year since you've been in the octagon. You've had a lot of time out, right? A lot of time to add new tricks up your sleeve, specifics training with guys like Craig Jones. You know, obviously it didn't go your way, the fight against Ilia, but there were moments where you were having success early on. You were piecing them up. There were lots of moments where you were finding your timing early with the kicks, especially with the jab. Again, you were winning the striking exchanges early on in that fight. If you do beat Ilia Topuria, I mean, obviously the guy's stock is high right now. He's being talked about as like this guy that's completely unbeatable. He'd beat everyone at 155 pounds. If you win that next fight, that, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, would be one of the greatest wins ever. And take into consideration, you're 36 years old, I believe.
Yep.
I don't think anybody in the history of the sport has won a title in 155 pounds or below at 35 years old or above. So that, again, would break records. So again, big risk, but enormous reward. That's like, if you win this type of fight, I mean, what does that say about your legacy, right?
We're looking at one of the biggest comebacks in UFC history. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. And I'm gunning for it. I'm going all in. I love being the underdog. We know that. I've always talked about being the underdog my whole life, and I thrive in those moments. And it looks like we're there again. So cool. I love it. You know what I mean? Backs against the wall. I'm coming out swinging, and I want to get that hand raised and big champ again.
Well, I mean, there have been some other times in your career where your back's been against the wall, not in the same way, but there was a time earlier on in your career after that Holloway rematch where, again, it felt like there were some doubts, and you leveled up big time. Your next performance, Ortega, that's the legend-making performance where you get out of the choke, and then the TKZ fight, you just run through them. The Holloway trilogy. I want to ask you about those moments in a little bit. We talk about your future. A lot of people are asking you what's ahead, but I want to take a moment to look at your accomplishments, the great things you've done in your career. You started as a rugby player, 214 pounds, density maxing, right? Before you got into MMA, I've always wanted to ask, with a rugby guy, you would expect that, type of athlete to come into a combat sport and be a bit of a slugger, maybe like a Josh Emmett type of fighter, throwing big meaty hooks, gnarly overhands. Did you ever have a time in your career where you had to sort of change and work to fall out of something like that? Or were you always sort of a natural, high output finesse type of striker? With you wanting this fight with Ilya again, obviously you deserve it because that's your only loss at featherweight. But again, it's like, you got to be crazy to continue to want to fight the best, continue to want to get better. But again, like, that's what got you here. That's what got you in this position. There was a time in your career where you were already a champion. This is 2 fights into your championship run. You beat Max Holloway twice, right? So beating Max Holloway, that's already massive. But it seemed like you made a jump from the Holloway rematch to the Brian Ortega fight. And not only did you seem to be faster, but just everything sort of took a new level. You looked even leaner. You looked even more trim. If you look at yourself in the Holloway first fight, the second fight, and the trilogy, it looks like you even maybe, trimmed down a little bit, right? What did you do to sort of, get to the next level as a champion already? Because again, the Ortega fight, outside of those 2 moments where he had you in the choke, you basically dominated the majority of the fight. The TKZ fight, masterclass. And of course, the Holloway trilogy, that's like, most people would consider that your best win. But what was it that allowed you to, again, achieve that next level? And anything specific that you were doing? Yeah. But I want to talk about a not so optimal state. Let's talk a little bit about melatonin gate. I like to call it melatonin gate. We're talking about the rematch with Max Holloway. All right. Yeah. And, I'll let you kind of explain what I mean by melatonin gate. But the reason I wanted to talk about this fight is because I personally feel like this is one of the most underrated performances of your career. You're in there with Max Holloway. Something got messed up right before the fight. You're down 2 rounds against one of the best volume strikers in history that never slows down, that you can't KO, that you can't take down, right? I want to know about, what happened in that fight, how you were able to adjust, what happened before, because I feel like this is like one of the most chaotic fights of your career. But I really think it's an underrated win because, people talk about Stipe, the body shots against DC, the comeback. Down 2 rounds to a guy like Holloway. That's pretty crazy coming back like that.
Yeah, 100%. It is, especially when you look at who it is. You're doing it against someone like Max Holloway. I mean, but you didn't have that comeback with, big finish
Right,
You know, but
right,
most of your fans, they're just like, he got dropped in the first round. How did he win? You know, so
right,
we do take the melatonin fight week, so you can
right,
get I think melatonin's fine anyway, but you make sure you get
right.
the
Yeah,
ones that are they
the
give you that
UFC
you
is
started
okay with.
to
Right,
prove them.
right.
The sleep
Hmm.
cycle, like a sleep cycle. So it's unreal. I love it. It works well for me.
Yeah,
Everyone knows about me getting woken up um, the night of my fight. So I mean, I'm
yeah.
fighting. So I had to get up. I
In the
think
morning, right?
3 or 4 in the morning, pissing a cup.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To do. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, we
right.
couldn't believe it. But then waking up in the morning, I'm just like, man, I need
Groggy,
coffee, man. Like I feel like I should be sleeping still.
right.
75. Max turned up that fight. He turned up,
Well,
and
yeah.
one
The
thing that I just
adjustment
found
was
it
the
hard
counter.
for me. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Where I did a bit of that in the third fight. I thought,
yeah,
and he didn't. So I didn't have to change anything that whole fight. And
yeah,
yeah, that's why I feel like it's underrated against someone like Max
yeah.
Holloway.
Right. But I also think that partly, especially at the time, a lot of people's, opinions were clouded because of how much they love Max, right? Because it was
Mhm.
closer than the first fight, and oh, Max is getting the belt back, and then obviously he comes up short. But
Mhm.
objectively, that fight is not, in my opinion, boring. Maybe to the more casual fan, it is. But if anyone watches that back, again, high level chess match, high output. Both of you
Mhm.
guys are landing the entire time. I mean, I feel like that's one of the best type of fights that there is. And again, it's like you have these moments in your career where you're on and you have a really, perfect performance. But again, it's very impressive when things can start off rough and you're still able to pull through. That's like the championship mentality, right? So again, I just wanted to ask you about that fight, about the adjustment that you had to make in the middle of that fight. Obviously, the trilogy, we all know what happened there. Favorite type of steak?
Ribeye be my favorite without the bone. So I know everyone loves
Yep.
bone in. I like without the bone. I'll do it with the bone in. It's more appealing, and everyone's like, "Well,
Looks
yeah,
better,
bone in
but
looks
there's something about
looks
the
better."
flavor, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I just think even cooking it, there you go.
That's well thought out. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Well,
strategy, mate, and fight
yeah.
IQ. You know.
I want to thank you, Volkanovski, for coming on the channel. Again, it means a lot to me. You're my favorite fighter, so I really appreciate this. It's time for us to discuss the most skilled fighters in mixed martial arts history. Next up, we have Alexander Volkanovski. This is a clear pick as well. I know that some people are going to be laughing at this, but come on, dude, stop trolling. Obviously, he's the top 10 most skilled fighter of all time. Insanely good boxing, insane output. Nobody has ever been able to out tit for tat Volk on the feet in a striking battle. Yeah, Makhachev had his moments, but in a striking battle with the best strikers ever, Max Holloway, Ilia Topuria, Jose Aldo, nobody has ever outside foot battled, out striking fight IQ when it comes to tit for tat. Okay? Nobody's ever been able to outland this guy. Insanely good leg kicks, insanely good body kicks, amazing jab, boxing combinations on point, output on point, feints, switching stances. And then it's going to come to the grappling. Maybe one of the best defensive grapplers in MMA history, and also insanely underrated when it comes to his offensive grappling. So amazing ground and pound, really good control. Also, Volk has an ability to sort of negate jiu-jitsu. This is like a Dan Hardy take. If you watch Dan Hardy, you kind of know what I'm saying. Volkanovski's like a bit of a hover maxer, where he doesn't really get involved in the jiu-jitsu game. He sort of hovers above your jiu-jitsu guard and your submissions and just kind of doesn't play that game. He sort of hovers above like a wrestler, which allows him to not get caught up in any submissions or anything like that. Really good control, great takedown entries, some of the most underrated ground and pound in UFC history, output on a different level, fight IQ up there as well. And also, let's talk about this. One of the most dominant fighters ever. One of the most well-rounded fighters ever. Insanely good everywhere, even in the clinch, wrestling, defensive grappling, submission defense, ground and pound, boxing, brother, kicking, brother, everything. All right? Dude, Volk looks shredded, man. Volk looks lean and mean, dude. He looks lean and mean. Volk's hitting him with the grin. Yeah. Volk's hitting him with the grin. Volk's hitting him with the sneaky grin. That's a good sign. That means he has a trick up his sleeve. Oh, dude, he's making a miss. He's making Lopez miss. Left and right. Boom. Oh, nice, bro. Volk's just too fast for him right now. Oh, there's the right hand from Volk, the cracking right. Dude, if Volk gets the belt back, it's just going to be insane. It's just going to be insane if he gets the belt back. Leg kick from Volk and a nice sweet piece special behind it. Yeah, Volk is literally just floating around, stinging him like a bee. He's floating around like a butterfly, stinging like a bee right now. The GOAT is doing his work, guys. The GOAT is doing his work. There's that crafty eye poke from Volk. The only issue is Volk's chin these days, man. If this was Prime Volk, he would have beat the fuck out of Lopez. Prime Volk would annihilate Diego Lopez. This is obviously an older Volk. And that makes this win even more impressive if he beats a guy like Diego who's so dangerous. Dude, Volkanovski's literally crafting it up right now in the fifth. He's actually getting crafty in the fifth with these little these knees. No! Don't you freaking give in to this guy! Don't give in to him, he might knock you out, Volk! Don't freaking give in! Run! You're a legend! You've already earned your stripes! Run! Run! Run away from this guy! Run away from this guy! Don't you dare! Don't you dare slug! Yes! Yes! Dude, Volkanovski is back in the mix. He's passing GSP with this win. GSP came back. Who'd he fight? Who'd he fight? GSP came back and fought Michael Bisping at middleweight. Volk comes back and fights fucking Diego Lopez and walks. Volk not only fights Diego Lopez, but he menacingly walks him down and punks him in the fifth. Yeah! 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 Fucking menaces Diego Lopez in the fifth. Volk not only out-grappled Lopez and submitted him, but he menaced him and walked him down and made Lopez look like a little weakling in the fifth. Yeah! Made him look like a fucking weakling in the fifth. Let's go, dude. Volk is so fucking good, man. Even old head Volk. Even old fucking decrepit Volk. Dude, you guys know Volk looked old. Volk looked withered. Volk's chin was not there. The fact that he just won that, oh, dude, let's go. Okay, but this is all I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say. Volk is still good. He still obviously beats 95% of people at featherweight, but he was not in his prime tonight. That is, I know it's not even an age thing. You know Volk looked fucking old and withered. You know he looked old and withered tonight after the first round. He still has speed. He still has good shot selection. His physicality, his chin, the durability, it's not where it used to be. It's not where it used to be. Volkanovski's the champ! And he's fucking back! 36 years old! First ever 36-year-old to win a belt in the lower weight classes. It's never happened, ever. Volkanovski is on a different level. Volkanovski is on a different level of being a GOAT. Dude, he's past GSP. Volk is past GSP. The only fighter in UFC history to win a belt in the lighter weight classes, 155 and below. Yeah, dude. Volkanovski's going on his movie speech. He's giving his movie speech. He's going to make Joe Rogan better shed a tear. Joe Rogan cries for Ronda Rousey. You better shed a tear. Whoa, the Miami crowd's leaving. What the fuck? But that, you're so disrespectful. They're leaving. Dude, they should be giving him a freaking TKZ send-off. American crowds are so freaking disrespectful, bro. They should be freaking shedding tears for Volkanovski right now. There should be panning to the crowd right now, and everyone should be looking up in awe at Volkanovski. Yes! Yeah! Dude, this is, man, Volkanovski is such a GOAT, dude. He's such a GOAT, bro. A shoo-in for the Hall of Fame, dude. The third greatest MMA fighter of all time. The third greatest MMA fighter of all time. It goes Jones. I mean, let's be honest. Jones, he's just in the mix. Okay. Islam Makhachev. And it's Alexander Volkanovski. I have GSP at the number 4 spot. Yeah, Volkanovski is now the third best MMA fighter of all time. And if anyone disagrees with that and wants to talk about GSP and Aldo and all these guys, GSP came back and fought Michael Bisping. Volkanovski is the only, at the age of like 35, by the way, GSP was like 35. Volkanovski is the only fighter ever to win a title in the lighter weight classes after the age of 35. He did it at 36, coming off of back-to-back KO losses against one of the most powerful hitters who has dangerous jiu-jitsu. who is without a doubt a top 3 featherweight right now. He's the GOAT, dude. He's the GOAT of featherweight. I never want to hear. I know there's still some Aldo stands that say people forget, man. No, but like Aldo's GOATed too. But this solidified it. Nobody touches him at featherweight. Ilya beats him at featherweight. I get it. Ilya is the better fighter at featherweight. I understand it. But as far as legacy goes, nobody touches him. Man, Lopez is a beast. People are going to say Lopez sucks, but Volk did beat the fuck out of him in the first round. Let's remember that. Volk did rock him in the first round and beat him up. 7 title defenses. Another title defense. I'm not going to be flexing the 2-time featherweight champ shit. I'm not going to be doing that. I remember when Izzy got the belt back, everyone was like, 2-time. I'm not going to be doing that. But come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. That's literally what you got to say. It's not I'm not going to be doing the 2-time champ, but you literally have to just sit there and say, come on, bro. Literally. You have to do that. You have to just say that at this point. He got knocked out twice in a row. He's 36 at featherweight against Diego Lopez. He got rocked twice in the fight and still pulled it through. Dude, Volk, I said he needed the takedown. Apparently not. Volk has the belt back. He is the champion of the world. We're in the best timeline possible. And let's just be honest about it. He really did just school Diego Lopez. Like, after the first round, Lopez really had nothing for Volk. And even in the first round, he really had nothing for Volk. This was a dominant striking masterclass from Volk. He pretty handily proved that he was way better than Diego Lopez as a fighter. Like, way better. Okay? GSP came back to fight Michael Bisping. Volkanovski came back to fight Diego Lopez. All right? There's a little bit of a difference there. One guy's in their prime with actual power to knock you out and has a submission game. The other guy was a tubby, pillow-handed, no jiu-jitsu, cardio guy. Michael Bisping was a cardio kickboxer, basically. And, we already know Volk has the wins over Yair. That aged well last night. I was a little bit worried Pitbull was about to get one over on Yair, man. But, Volkanovski's resume just aging real good right now. I don't want Volkanovski, who just proved that even out of his prime, he can beat the dangerous #1 contenders in his division. Even out of his prime, where he's finally starting to look a little old. He could still hang with these guys, for sure. He's taken a lot of damage. This is the fucking perfect storybook ending. He can ride off into the sunset. He's the only guy in history to be able to win a title after the age of 35 in the lighter weight classes. He said it himself. People are going to write movies about this. I got the Lopez pick right. I got the Makhachev fights right. I got the Topuria fight right. I said second round KO. I got the Holloway trilogy right. I said 50-45. He got the 50-45. The rematch, I said Volk's going to win. The TKZ fight. The Ortega fight. The Yair fight. That's a lot of fights. That just goes to show Volk is goated, by the way. But I think a win like this over a prime, real contender Diego Lopez, who people are going to say is a fraud, but again, that just goes to show Volkanovski's really fucking good. Diego Lopez has not had an issue throughout his career when it comes to hitting people. All of a sudden, Volkanovski's in front of him, and he can't fucking touch him. Volk's another level. You will see it. Diego Lopez, man. Diego Lopez will continue to win fights. All right, he will. He got the title back. He broke records. He broke the Drake curse. Volk still has it. He showed layers, and he showed that he was still, even though he's looking to be a little bit declined, able to school the newer guard in the modern era, which is really impressive. But he still has it. He's still got it.
I'm sorry, mate. That ain't happening.
All right, Volk still has it. 4 rounds of that fight was Volkanovski crashing into the pocket and slugging with Lopez. This was not Volk just kicking at range and jabbing at range the whole time. No, he was fucking in the pocket, testing Lopez's chin, putting his chin on a firing line. He did that about 20 times. So the fact that he could beat Lopez on the feet while doing the thing that I said he couldn't do, otherwise he would get KO'd, he proved me wrong. This just speaks to how great Volkanovski is. He's such a fucking goat of the sport, dude, that he can come back at 36 and beat a killer like Lopez and do it in the pocket like 20 times, dude. He's not in his prime anymore. This was not 2022 Volkanovski. If this was 2022 Volkanovski, Diego Lopez is not making it out of the 3rd round, and Volk isn't getting dropped once. I'm sorry, he's not getting dropped a single time. I don't know if beating Evloev is going to leapfrog Volk over the next guy on the GOAT list. I think Volk is maybe about as high as he could possibly get on the GOAT list. I'm even open to the fact that Volk could be the 2nd greatest of all time. If he beats Evloev, he's literally he's passing Islam Makhachev. Islam beat him twice, okay, whatever. Just because you beat Volk doesn't mean Ilya Topuria is over Volk. If he beats Evloev, he's past Makhachev until Makhachev wins again. Like, Volk only has 2 real losses in his career. The loss to Makhachev that he had at 294 was when it was statistically permissible for him to lose. So that doesn't really count. Hey, bring the heat. Bring the heat. I stood up and look at me now. Oh, nah. Volkanovski is the GOAT. Oh, nah. Volkanovski is the GOAT. Oh, nah.